Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here in Donington. We are here for our endurance around 3 hours. I'm Cristian Romano. I'll be your voice for the next 3.5 hours, to be fair, because it's qualifying and then the race. Where we are in Donington. We are in the middle of the United Kingdom, and we are in, we could say, the home of the British GT. Let me just do one thing quickly. Just want to make sure everything works. Aha, I knew something wasn't working. Okay, and now it should work. Now there is a bit of music. We are in the home of the British GT. We are in the home of the British Superbike. We are in the home of, effectively, all the, I would say, the root of motorsport in Great Britain. As the Donington circuit had its beginning in 1931. It had some troubles in all of its years, a couple of bankruptcy and whatnot, and it hosted every single event possible. It hosted F1 only once, but it did in 1991, if I remember correctly. It's currently home of the World Superbike Championship, the British Touring Car Championship, British GT. We have the Touring Car in UK. It was 93, apologies. The F1 European Grand Prix was hosted in 1993. It hosted the MotoGP. It hosted the World Touring Car Championship. That from what was, I think it was 2021. It died about there. It even hosted a couple of rounds in DTM, and it was also home of the FIA GT Championship. In any case, 4 kilometers long, 12 turns, and a lot of action, even a bit of history, considering the 1993 incident that happened in the hairpin with Michael Schumacher in turn 11 in the Melbourne hairpin. 12 corners, as I said. A lot of history in this track, but let's have a look at the situation in the standings, because it's quite interesting, to say the least. As we have our... Can you just refresh yourself? Here you are. We have Skidmark Racing leading in front of Fisher Racing Esports, West Competition Racing, and LFM Esports with CMRC Endurance completing your top 5. Whereas in GT4, we've got the dynamic MS Youngstars in the very lead. In front of Fisher Racing Academy, Flamingo in third, DK Racing and Firefly Racing completing your top 5. In terms of race, last time around, we were in the beautiful track of Silverstone, speaking of British GT, and in Silverstone, oh wait, apologies, you're obviously not looking at it, but in Silverstone this was the situation in... oh no! Yeah, right, because another race happened in the meantime, so you can't really see the results, since there was another enduro race in the North Life. A lot of events, obviously, in the LFM environment. There are also a lot of events. There is the Duo Cup, there are GT3 plus GT4, multi-class races, there is the Porsche Cup, and there is the North Life Sprint Cup. That next round is in 2 days. But now we are about to start our qualifying session, as everything is getting ready for all of 41 teams that are going to race for the pole in the first 30 minutes, and then race for 3 hours in the remainder of the time. let's go back to the studio since it's very little time before we start with the qualifying, which is just happening now. So just clear everything up so you can have a clear view of what's happening, and then we go into our live footage if it would work. Thank you very much. So here we are in Donington, GT3 and GT4 at the same time. Oh, is the tower here? You like? Yeah, way better. Not sure why the tower decided to move itself. Anyway, on the tower you will see a couple of useful informations, obviously the position. The number is also a reference to their strength, because if you're new to LFM, your number also dictates your theoretical pace. So for example, the 401 is possibly going to be in pole in GT4, and the 121 is possibly going to be in 21st in GT3, but obviously this is still an estimate, it's not the 100% certainty that that's going to happen. Also, GT3 and GT4 are in the same time on the racetrack, and also you can see obviously their name, their nationality, and manufacturer, and their session best relative on the third useful column, all of which will rotate in intervals. So now it's empty since nobody set a valid lap time for obvious reasons. Since we just started the 20-minute, apologies, 20-minute qualifying. I said 30 early on, it was 20 because it's 30 for the long rounds. As I said, a lot of people currently racing in Donington. 41 teams for a track that, let's be honest, it's really difficult for a very narrow track like this to host all of these teams. So it's going to be a very interesting situation for the faster teams, because they have to find a way around the slower drivers in the GT4 category. As we are currently with Sasha Wittig in the CRT, and now that I look a bit about it, this one is missing. Let me just okay, now it's better. So I'm not sure why. No, why are you? Okay, something is breaking apart, which is great, to say the least. Let me just don't know why something broke. Usually it doesn't happen. So 126.345 for Megas, that gets beaten on the line by Yannick Axman, and then Beckman is with a 6.0. So just do something easy. I will just give me a second to adjust everything, because for some reasons it's not really working as intended. Now everything should work as intended. With the best lap here. There you are. Everything works again. So as I was saying, Beckman is now in pole position momentarily with a 114 Mustang. Reduce this one a bit because it's a bit large. In the 114, as I said, this team is theoretically going to set up the 14th fastest lap, but at the moment they are staying in pole, although Brennan here in the Lamborghini in the West Competition Racing 101 is going a bit wide on the chicane. I think it was an off-lap for West Competition Racing for Oystein Brunum, as Tadic, yeah, definitely that's a bit too large, is now in pole position. Mirko Fiorentini now sets another fastest lap, 25.730 for Mirko Fiorentini, although Brennan is not going to improve. Yeah, his lap time is going to be just a 6.8 outside the possible pole position. 25.7 for the Aston Martin for Emer Reparto Coaching. About 2 tenths in front of Tadic in the 113 in the Ferrari, and then a Mustang. Every single empty space you see there is a Ford Mustang, because for reasons I have absolutely no idea why, but Ford Mustang is not seen by the race control as a car. And then in GT4 Tamu is leading. Oh, unfortunately that was some GT4 driver in the middle of the way for Fiorentini, who will not improve. I can't say the same about Beckman, who is improving his own time by 3 tenths of a second. That will put this car just in pole as the overtake on the Ginetta happens there. And the Mustang, can Beckman make it in pole just behind the Fiorentini? And he does so. First place for the Mustang driver for Facial Racing Esports with a 25.725. As Brenham, just at the very tail end of the lap, improves enough to put himself in pole 7.12. So that is just 13 milliseconds in front of Beckman, and 18 in front of Fiorentini, and 40 in front of Messa. As the French driver puts his Porsche 108 in the pole position, and then Tadic is slightly behind on schedule with a 25.917. Apple follows with a 6.0, 3 tenths of a second behind, and then a half a second behind is Mattia Max, who is still, never mind, is now into the pits in the 103 Honda NSX. And then obviously we have to mention GT4. Marcel Tamu is currently leading with a okay, this camera is awful. Marcel Tamu is currently leading in GT4 with a 33.2. Antal behind is sitting in a 33.997. And these cars are about 8 seconds slower than the pole sitter. Petro Silva is now in 32nd place. They're getting overtaken by Akiraunio and Vitaly Denisenko in 31st place overall. But Brenham is still on the racetrack. Never mind, he's not anymore. For a moment he was over the grass with the right, left, okay, no, rear left, please. The rear left on the grass as he overtakes a Mercedes GT4, but I think his lap time is ruined anyway. Messa on the other side of the hill, actually using as much of the track as physically possible. Nearly puts himself out of bounds. His lap time is still a valid one. Redon Messa, the Frenchman, in the 108 Porsche. Is he going? Oh, sliding a bit over Coppice, turn 8, and then into Sarkis straight, and then into 9 and 10. Can the Ginetta ruin? Oh, he loses the rear completely, puts the car into the gravel, and that's a lap done for Redon Messa, who tried to use as much of the track as possible, and he put his own car over the grass, lost the rear, nearly lost the car altogether. Somehow survived, but his attempt will be void. In a single second, we've got 13 teams at the moment. As also Tadic with a yellow flag showing his car is way more out of bounds than expected. Wonder the reason for that. We can see it with a replay. As Samuel Tadic, oh, he just lost the rear on exit and put the car on grass. You can see there. So the 113 is now back on possible value lap time. This car is currently in 5th place, about 2 tenths behind the leader and a tenth and a half in front of Harpel. So altogether, it's not really a bad position for the Ferrari driver. For Penguin to forces. This lap will not be an improvement compared to Axman, who is actually going to improve for Future Racing Esports in the Porsche 104. Over the chicane he goes. That was, I think, on the limit to become not valid lap time. The reading is still white, and this Ginetta is getting protagonist of many GT3 drivers. As the 104 goes over the inside. Oh, there was a contact there. And that's the lap possibly ruined completely for Axman, as he will improve by a position. He gets into 9th place, but that was probably going to become at least 7th. At least 7th. Not great for Yannick Axman, who will have to go for another lap. Beckman, yellow flags showing, so he's not going to improve in this very lap. I wonder if it is for letting others pass by or if it was a mistake altogether. Axman is now into the pits. 8 minutes to go for Future Racing Esports. Marcel Tammo in the KTM 4-1, still leading in front of this Van Antal by a massive amount of time. Flamingo is currently leading Simrise Racing Team by about 7 tenths, and Polyakov follows 8 tenths behind, with Petzold practically the entire second. Not even more than 1 second behind, so if anything, Marcel Tammo is absolutely destroying the field in the KTM. Meanwhile, Milan Keys for drive-through sim racing finds a Mercedes GT4 in the middle, but the DTS car with a very nice livery there goes over the chicane with a single tenth of advantage. Oh, it loses it all by going a bit wide on entry, and that's going to be effectively wasted time. The Honda here currently going over the British Hill as we are into McLean's and now Copies over the inside line. A bit cutting the chicane. Where's the first week? I just think that the main issue is that the ACC servers are offline. So many teams possibly couldn't join. Sebastian Zenner is now in the very lead in the CMRC Endurance 102. Out of nowhere, to be fair, because I couldn't find this car early on. And the 25.5 is now your new goalpost. 10.5 in front of Brennan, and Beckman following with Fiorentini just behind. Still an improvement for Milan Keys, the DTS car. He's currently sitting in 12th place. But again, the chicane ruins his lap once more. As he goes over the final hairpin. 6.3 is the lap that has to be beaten to gain some positions, and he does so by going in 9th place with a 26.157, 6 times behind the current pole sitter. Redon Massot could become your pole sitter. He has been trying to achieve that very first place since the very start of the qualifying session, but a mistake here and there always put this car back on the tail end of the top 5. And a Ferrari in front, 20th place for this guy that gives the way to the Frenchman that was kind of in 20th place. That was Persichini in the 117. Oh, that was a bit wide for Messa, who I think is going to relaunch himself and into one of the final laps for this Porsche. With the best lap set a lot of time ago, basically the second lap. Brennan will win and so will crash. That's... I mean... We will see what will happen at the moment. The Frenchman is still there in 5th place. He's not improving this very lap. Someone who is improving though is Sasha Wittig in the CRT Mustang. It was a bit of a long way around the hairpin as the car does improve, but remains in 19th place. As Persichini in the 117 is actually improving by a lot of time. 6 temps for the Ferrari driver in the 20th place at the moment. As Mattia Max goes in 6th, 25.845 for the 103. As Persichini goes in 16th, and Messa just goes in 2nd place, 25.622 for Messa, who just gained the very 10th he needed in the final hairpin. It's a massive improvement for the French driver in the 108 Porsche. 2nd place for Messa, and now 67 milliseconds behind Sebastian Zenner in the CMRC Endurance, who is not on a valid lap time. Mirko Fiorentini now absolutely crashing the field with a 2 temps advantage over himself. That will put this car in pole, but he just lost some time with the Ginetta behind. That was the 411, currently sitting in 33rd place. Persichini can still improve, a very nice line there. And a matter of fact, he's improving by a 10th, not 2. So if anything, he will improve, but can't see the pole position for this car unless the magic happens in the very final hairpin. As he just approaches final corner. Turn 12, Goddard's. As he goes across the line, it's going to be an improvement. It's going to be 3rd place, 25.625, 3 milliseconds behind Messa, and Brendan becomes 4th on the line. Messa will not improve in any case, since the car is still in the pits. Sebastian Zenner, on the other side of the racetrack, though, is very much on the verge of improving even more. Axman behind in the Porsche, you can see the Aston Martin just in front. As Zenner gave up the lap to give Axman the chance to improve, but he just cut the chicane, so he will not do it this time around. And he comes back on the racing line behind the very Aston Martin. They let him pass early on. Oh, what happened here? Oh, what happened here? It was an improvement for this car. Or was it an incident between teammates? We can have a look. Unfortunately, we cannot have a look. Just be sure about it. Oh yeah, it was... oh, it was the teammate going just in front in the 114 Mustang. Ooh, tremendous for Future Racing. tremendous situation for Fisher Racing that saw Mahoney crashing with the other Mustang. That sits in 5th place. That was not a great situation for Fisher Racing, as Zenner remains in pole position, Redomasa in 2nd place. This car is really awful. Marico Fiorentini is in 3rd, Austin Brenham will remain at least in 4th, Beckman is in 5th. And the leaderboard completely glitched itself because I can't select the drivers anymore. Oh no, because someone is not in the race anymore. I clearly see someone. Team Brenham. Beckman, I don't. Oh. Okay. Yeah, okay, my race control is probably exploding. Fair. Whilst in GT4, Marcel Tamo remains in the very lead by a massive amount of time, 4 times on Petzold, who is in the dynamic MC Youngstars Maserati. Then Nikolai Polyakov is in 3rd. As we are about to start the procedure to get on the formation lap, and then 3 hours of racing for these drivers here. As qualifying is currently over. Apologies for this awful view, but that was the best I could offer since, well, yes, it's not like I can say much else. Can I? Okay. It should work. Should, because it's not really helping ACC at the moment. Something glitched clearly, because a couple of things aren't working at all. Let's see if the grid is ready. Let's have a look here. Not yet. So it takes a couple of seconds. I can't physically know when the grid layout will be ready. The 102, Sebastian Zenner will lead the race for the very first lap and the very first corner. It will be so, but we will see during 3 hours of racing what the race is going to tell us. This is still not working. Let's reset it. Yeah, okay, now it's working. Sebastian Zenner and Lucas Rode in 1st place in Aston Martin. Then, no, okay, no, it's still not working. Fantastic stuff. That was. Let me just retry again. Okay, we will not have a grid this time around, because the CMRC is still the very same car, but I require another car. I will just try another time, and then I will just go for the usual way. Okay, so it's not working this time around. Okay, we'll go the usual way. The Damesa will start in 2nd place for French Connection, and then Tommaso Pagliai in MR Reparto Coaching is in 3rd. Oystein Brunham for Race Competition Racing number 101 will start in 4th place. Then Sonnenbauer for Future Racing Esports is in 5th place. 6th for Yannick Axman in the Future Racing Esports number 104 Porsche. And then Alpha Racing Team Mattia Mex in 7th place. Then Sanel Tadic is in 8th for Fingerton Forces. Senapper will start for new engine car number 105 in the Mustang. Then the 107 Drive-Thru Sim Racing is in 10th place with a very nice livery there. Infelix Racing, with this new livery, I always like this one here. 111 will start in 11th place. Then Marco Perschini for Team JB17 Motorsport in 12th. Then Fisher Racing Esports, unfortunately, only 13th because of the teammates in 5th place, effectively. Then the 115 G League Esports is in 14th. Sky Simforce is in 15th place with MR Reparto Coaching. The sister team is in 16th place. Future Racing Academy is in 17th with... I can't read from here. Kai's Racing Team in 18th place. Close Quarter Racing is in 19th. And Rematch Racing is in 20th place with Bellic GT Racing in 21st place in a 112 Mustang. Then we start with the GT4 class with Flamingo in the KTM 401. Rispetto follows in the Dynamic. MS Youngstars in the Maserati. And then the 404 Maserati is in 24th place. Simrise Racing Team is in 25th, with Apex Predator Racing Team is in 26th place, 27th for Dynamic MS Youngstars, and then 28th for Khalid Racing Team. Future Racing Academy is in 29th place. Outside Racing Group is in 30th, with 31st being held by Earl Motorsports in Alpine. Then we've got the Aston Martin, number 409, with Akibua Racing in 42nd. Saka Serif in 33rd. Slow Motion Racing in 34th. Kuro Uno Racing in 35th. 36th for Low Fuel Motorsport. 37th for SR97. Delta Hunters in 38th. 39th for Jolly Roger Racing. And then 40th place for Cuba Uno Racing, the sister team. And then Jolly Roger Racing is in 31st place. What to say about this track? As I said earlier, marvelous racetrack as we go with Sebastian Zenner in our track preview. We just lost a couple of turns, but we are now into McLean's turn 7. As I said earlier, it's a very short racetrack, this one here. As we go then into Copies, turn 8, blind braking point, so you have to trust yourself in a sense to get to the corner in a perfect manner. Then staircase straight, which is the longest straight line for the whole circuit, and then into the S's 9 and 10, which is the point where the national circuit and international circuit diverge. On the right to the national and to the left for the chicane or the SS 9 and 10. Then we get into turn 11, the hairpin, quite a famous one for quite an incident that happened in 1993 at the European Formula 1 Grand Prix. Into Melbourne hairpin, then into Goddard's. As we are now getting here for the very start of our race. As the GT4 class is also starting to appear and to lock itself in position, but Sebastian Zenner is now leading the race and will do so for the first lap of the Donington 3-hour endurance. And it's green light, and away we go with a very nice start by Mesa. Look at that, on the outside he goes, already takes the first place in the first couple of meters, but the Aston makes a better break at use into turn 1, and the Porsche is now back into second, although Oysten Brunum is looking at taking second place for the French driver, and does so on the Lamborghini that now sits in second behind the leader. Redouane Messot is now in third, and Tommaso Pagliai is in fourth, with Soren Bauer in fifth place. Although you can see here, it's not over. Porsche still follows. West Competition Racing into turn 7 and then into Copies. Turn 8, blind corner as you go uphill, and you have to turn on the same time without having a clear look at the braking point. Bit of argy-bargy behind, as you can see here. We are into 9th place as Dustin Harper takes a position on Milan Kiss for 9th place as they all go in a single file. I can't see any major incident happening at the moment. As Wittig takes 17th in front of Wissi in 18th place. Now the CRT is in 17th place in the car number 121. And also here the 101 is in second place. That's Oystein Brunum for best competition racing. Sebastian Zenner obviously fastest so far, although Brunum already goes quicker than him. 4 times gained on this very lap for Brunum on the current leader of the race. As all the cars go over turn 1 in a clean fashion. And from the rear wing of the CMRC Endurance by Barmenia, Sebastian Zenner still leads the pack. It's going to be very difficult to make an overtake here, considering how narrow this track is, but you can see the 101 already taking the gap and destroying it as the time progresses. And as you can, oh, something happened here. The Ferrari is very much in trouble. Something clearly happened here between Pereschini and I think Claudio Zazza. As another position gets lost by the Ferrari, and they gains it back, and there is contact there, and there is the Aston Martin going for a position, and that's a lot of positions lost by Tobias Ovesi, who is now in last place. We go back into the very front of the pack as Milan Kiss gain a position on Mattia Max on the hairpin, but the Honda still is present behind the very Ferrari that is now in 9th place. No overtake there in 2nd place. The Aston still remains in front of Brunum, and the Porsche driver is in 3rd place with Tommaso Pagliai very close to the top 3. That will be the podium for the Italian driver in the 116 Aston Martin. For some reason Pedro Silva is now leading the race, although he's in a GT4. Race control is not really having a good time this afternoon. It's quite clear. Yeah, obviously now it's all back in place. Very close to Brunum is this Porsche here that just qualified at the very final moments in 2nd place, then lost a position going into 3rd. Brunum gained 2 positions since the very start of the race, and someone is off. That was Max. Oh, that's you can see Mattia Max into the wall. That's the Honda driver in the 103. You can have a look at what happened just now. So this is the situation that happened in the chicane. There was an overtake attempt on the Ferrari. The Honda brakes normally, I think. Yeah, that's the rear going away and throwing the Honda into the grass. Luckily not into the wall, but it was a very close call for the NSX driver. Asadic is now trying the position on Axman. That will be fundamental to get into Burr, and so the top 5 will be an achievable goal for Benetton forces. Very late break for Sanel Talish. As an incident happened in the GT4 category. So I can see a couple of cars being stuck. It was the 411. We will have a replay soon of the action. I just want to be sure that nothing else happens here. The Vice President makes another purple lap, 26.270, 2 times quicker than anybody else at best. The 411 was showing an incident. We can have a look at what just happened in the GT4 field. So this was the Ginetta for Xaxa trip. Little contact between the Porsche and the Aston there, and there was then a pit maneuver there for the Aston Martin, for the Porsche, that throws the Ginetta then into the middle of the racetrack, that collides with 4 other cars, domino effect that involved several GT4s. It was a contact between the Porsche and the Ginetta that then threw the Ginetta back into the traffic. And 4 cars were involved in the incident. Probably a penalty will be applied in the upcoming minutes. And if the GT4 field was spread enough because of the pace, now that incident will not really improve things. The 2 Fisher Racing cars there are in 5th and 6th. That's Soren Bohr and Yannick Hassmann in the Mustang and the Porsche. The Ferrari follows in 7th place, as there is a very interesting situation developing here in 16th place. Kevin Bellish in the Mustang trying the position on Bella Philippe in 16th place. The Red Bull livery. You should take out for yeah, I mean it's a tactic. Like you are going to have a penalty regardless. So at this point, just make it whole and create mayhem. Meanwhile, Rebdoan Messa trying the position on the inside line that was into the hold hairpin. It's turn 4. But obviously the space available for a move there is close to nothing. So nothing was created in the end. Beige took the place on Philip, who is actually showing yellow flags. Something happened to this car, the 118. We can have a quick look at the situation that just developed here. Was it a mistake on their own for the Ferrari driver? Or was it... Oh, yeah, the rear completely left the chat and decided it was overrated to have rear grip. So the Ferrari came back on the racetrack behind everyone else in 19th place. Back to the battle here, because now the GT4 field is starting to appear, and Megan's also made a position in front of Zaza for 10th place, but I'm very interested to see the situation here, as Messa is very, very close to the Lamborghini driver, as Axman in the distance also made the switch with their teammate. Soren Bohr is now in 6th place. I doubt it was not a call from the higher ups. I think it was very much a strategic move between the 2 teammates, as the Ginetta has to give the way to the fastest cars. And now it's a 4-way battle, so I'm not really sure how things can improve for future racing, although if Axman can effectively have a better chance at flying away and get closer to Tommaso Pagliai, let him have it. Meanwhile, Ferrari and the Mustang having some beef here into the chicane. Nothing develops, and the 1-1-3 still remains in front of the Mustang, although by doing so they are losing time on Soren Bohr, as the Mustang takes the inside line into the hairpin. He goes, and that's a position done for Dustin Herpel for new engine, and the 105 is now in 7th place in front of Stanley Tadic, who is now in 8th, losing the position on the Mustang, who is now behind the other Mustang. Mercedes-Benz there, just hoping nothing bad happens to it. And so you can clearly see that Yannick Hassmann is effectively quicker. He was right. He already created a 2.2 of gap with his teammate in the Mustang behind. As we go back in 2nd place, because Austin Brunum still has the mirror full of Porsche. Oh, that's a bit wide for Brunum. It's clear that Messa wants at least to get back into the starting position. Weaving a lot, not sure if it is to become dangerous the ice of Oyster-Brunum, or if it is to get rid of the Aston behind. As the Mercedes also tries an overtake on the Mercedes. That's a free wide situation among between two different classes and among three different drivers, obviously. As that was the position number 28 changing. That was Matthew Hughes in front of Pedro Silva, the 408 Mercedes-Benz. As Mani Ram also made a position on Bellic. It's a Porsche who nearly throws the car into the inside. And that's the Lamborghini a bit on the grass, losing some time. Tommaso Pagliai, unfortunately, was stuck behind the Alpine. But the traffic giveth, traffic taketh, so nothing to worry about. As you can see, more traffic up ahead. As we are, I think, about to become part of the battle for third place in GT4 class. As we saw, still follows closely. As you can see, the Porsche there. That now splits second and third car in half, and now the Porsche is in great trouble, defending the inside line on the Aston Martin, and that's the Italian going on outside. It's a bit of a difficult move to accomplish, and matter of fact, Redon Massa remains in third place with Tommaso Pagliai still in fourth, just helping Yannick Haxman behind Oyster-Brunum in second place. As you can see, the GT4 pole sitter and the car 401 is now in 32nd place. So clearly something huge happened to the leader in GT4 class. There is the sister team, the car currently in fourth, having some battle with Derek Lapin for G-League Esports. Then back, Redon Massa is into the grass. What happened there? I think Redon Massa just lost the car altogether, but came back on the racetrack in a normal manner. Well, normal in a sense. And luckily for them, nothing bad happened. Nice camera there. Complete blue. As Aston still remains in fourth place. A lot going on at the moment, so apologies if I missed the action that happened in GT4, which now develops as Petzold takes the position on Lafleur for Dynamic MS Youngstars in 24th place. Now podium position for the Aston Martin, for the Maserati driver in front of the Porsche, with Istvan Antal in second place, just behind Nikolai Polyakov in 22nd place overall. Let's go back with... Oh, Zenner! Yellow flag showing, and he lost the place on Branum. I think there was a GT4 in the middle, and now the Porsche also got in front of the former pole sitter and the leader of the race, as the Porsche is now in second place. Sebastian Zenner is now in third, with a lot of traffic, possibly a contact between the GT4 and Zenner. Now set Brenum in the very lead of the race, with Messawi back in second, as we went across the battle for third in GT4. The 102 effectively was involved in a contact. We will get back to that as soon as possible. Now Tommaso Pagliai is behind the former leader, and also Brenum finds himself in the very top of the field. Meanwhile, here a lot of trouble for Ori Megan's Milan Keys in the middle of the GT4 battle. And also trying the position to get into 9th place for Milan Keys. Obviously, Milan Keys last lap around was a 8.3 compared to Megan's 8.4, although you can see the 107 having to defend against the Ferrari with the, quite honestly, most colorful livery in the field. For the accent, oh, this is not going to end well. Oh, and both cars out of the racetrack. One into the wall, the other going for a 360 and going back onto the racetrack, although making contact with someone else. And that's more trouble happening as everybody got involved. And that was Milan Keys losing the position by colliding with the GT4 car, losing the position on Claudio Zazza and Vincenzo Damiano. Milan Keys is now in 11th place. And Kevin Bellick is in 12th with Kevin Maniram in 13th. And I have no clue where Megan is. He's actually in 20th place as Mahoney gains the position on Maniram. And also Keys gains back the position on Kevin Bellick. That was for 11th place in the second to last corner. As the 107 is back in 11th place at the very least, although he loses the rear grip of the race car. And Kevin Bellick has another chance to make it into the top 10. Apologies, the top 11. As a matter of fact, Kevin Bellick gets the outside line. He can't afford to make more contact with other cars, as I think there is going to be a penalty for someone, at least. And that's Kevin Bellick is now in 11th place. GT4 traffic is not really being keen on these guys. The GT3 field struggling a lot at the moment to maintain some calm. The 103 is into the wall. I can see the Honda not really having a good time there, the 103. And now Dustin Harpel and Soen Burr going for a fight for 6th place. Can the Mustang take the outside line? It cannot, but Sanel Tadic is actually going to try to make it into 7th place. As Vincenzo Damiano and Claudio Zazza are also battling for position. You can see here the Aston Martin going wide and the Ferrari going on the inside. And that's the position down for Claudio Zazza, 9th place. As Vincenzo Damiano loses the position on the Ferrari driver. Behind him is Kevin Bellick also trying the outside line. Can he make it into the top 10 this time around? I am correct, but not for the position that Kevin Bellick hoped to gain, because he actually has to defend against the Ferrari, who actually is going on outside. Same move, but the other way around for these two, as Kevin Bellick maintains the inside line. Can the Ferrari take the move from the outside? He cannot. He remains behind Bellick, so he remains in 12th place. Vincenzo Damiano still in 10th, and Sebastian Vettel now in 3rd place, still in the middle of this whole pack, from 1st to 5th. Mahoney now in front of Milan Keys, who lost the position on the BMW for Future Racing Esports. Trying the outside line. Can he make a move? Oh, he actually cannot. The Aston Martin goes wide. That was Kevin Marinam. And Milan Keys actually goes for the inside line. Magnificent racing here between, well, among actually everybody, in a sense. Oh, there is a car going very slow. That's a GT4, apologies. From here, it seemed like a GT3 car. And everybody is battling for position. Oh, a lot of contacts here. As Bellick, Mahoney, Damiano all came together for some contacts, as one of the cars was a bit too slow on the hairpin. And the long line of cars is very angry. And all of them want to be in 9th place. As Claudio Zazza is leading this whole field. I'm trying to keep an eye on what's happening in front. Brandon is still ahead of Messa, Zender and Pagliai, with Axman following just behind. That was Kevin Bellick going a bit slow. losing some time. Oh, that was Tony Mahoney going actually over the grass, losing the position on the Ferrari, who goes on the outside line, takes the position for a brief millisecond, not even taken by the race control, but actually now does so in a more clear way, with Maniram also gaining the position on the BMW driver, going on the inside, taking a very opportunistic chance on himself. That's Thomas one, and Sebastian Zender battling for position. That's also actually Tommaso Pagliai trying to get the position done on Zedner. That will be for second, third and fourth. I don't even know who is going to be at the end of this stint, because there is a contact with the leader. Brenham loses the position on the Porsche, and there's also Pagliai gaining the position on both the Aston Martin and the Lamborghini driver. Pagliai is now in second place with the leader that collided with the GT4 car. That was a bit too much on the inside, and that's also Zender trying to get the position done on the outside on Brenham, who was the leader of the race up so far, but there is a huge situation of going there with Yannick Axman going on the outside, going over the curb, trying to get the position done on the former leader of the race. On the inside, Sealy stays, and Axman gains the position number 4 for about 2 seconds before going back into 5th place. Sebastian Zen is still on the outside, and he loses the position on the Porsche driver. That's Yannick Axman in 4th place now, with Sebastian Zender being effectively the loser of this pack. Now in 5th place. He was in the 1st position at the very start of the stint. Now Redon Messoa is in 1st place. Tommaso Pagliai just follows behind. Oysen Brenham is now in 3rd. Yannick Axman is now in 4th. And Sebastian Zender all of a sudden finds himself in 5th place. Soren Bar is just 3 seconds behind. Sanel Tadic is in 7th. Dustin Harper is now in 8th place. And all of them are in an incredible battle. I don't really know who is going to lead this field at the end of the stint. Some clash. I think I can give you a replay, but it's going to be a very quick one. I don't even want to know if I can show you a replay, because now Derek Lapin and Mahoney are in front of Maniram, and Bellic is now back in front of Vincenzo Damiano. That was for 10th place. Azad is still in 9th. The Mustang driver goes a bit wide on the final hairpin, and Bellic is now in 10th with Damiano in 11th place. Only 2 seconds in front of Kiss, who somehow is not battling with someone else for the first time in the whole race. As Dustin Harper is also behind Sanel Tadic and Soren Burr in 6th place. And the battle in the top 5 still goes on, as Lapin loses the position on Tony Mahoney. Kevin Maniram was clearly going to try a position on Derek Lapin into the Honda, but it's actually the other way around. Maniram gains the position actually on Lapin, and Wittig does the same, but Wittig now, the Aston Martin, makes the position with the Ferrari, and the Ferrari loses another position. That was Wittig going for 15th place, and Tobias Wissi losing the position in the Ferrari, with Derek Lapin now in front of the Honda, with Wissi in front of the Honda, Wittig in the CRT car. As Bellic makes another pass, that was for 9th place. On the very same hairpin as the position on Damiano. This has been a bit of a recurring action. And Tasa is now in 10th with Lapin, who is actually back in 16th place in front of Westie. Meanwhile, I think I have just the time to give you a reason for why Brenham in the 101 collided with another car and lost the lead of the race. But just after this attempt at a position on Axman, Aston probably, not sure, remains where it is at the moment. Lot of traffic for this field here. So I just have 1 second to show you what happened to the former leader of the race. So this was the situation. Look at this. We go on board with the Huracan driver. In front there is a GT4 that was on the inside. We can try to go for a move, collided with the Cayman and lost the place on two different drivers, finding itself now in third place. And Zender, oh, now on the grass, now in fifth place. As Sasha Wittig now gained the position on Westier early on. Apologies for having mistaken the cars, but everything was happening at the same moment. It was a bit difficult to have a clear view of everything. Now Wittig loses the position on Westier, and that's 16th place for Westier in the Fisher Racing Porsche, just behind the Derek Clappin in the G League Esports. Tommaso Pagliai very much in contention with Mesa, trying the outside line on the leader. He has to stay ahead of Brenum, who will take every chance available. I think this is the calmest this race has been since the very start of the race, which is great. Just to give myself a bit of calm to at least check on the existence of the GT4 field. At the moment battling for 31st place is Konstantin Zin, Giuseppe Motta and Chris Burning in the Porsche, McLaren, and behind, oh, Jack Rose made a contact with the Mustang, I think. That was Sasha Wittig. And that was Sasha Wittig going very much wide in a 1-to-1. This is what happened to... Wait, this is another incident. Another car. Oh yeah, there was some contact between the Ferrari and the Aston, and this was the 101. To find himself in an accident with another car. We can see what happened exactly. Don't think anything too brutal. Oh, it actually was just a contact between Axman and Brennan. Just a little contact and nothing to worry too much about. Oh, this is huge, look at this, and Sebastian Zenner is again on the offensive, this time on Yannick Axman, who is also on the offensive on Oystein Brenum. And there was a change of position between Soren Burr and Tarish for a brief moment, as Burr is back in front of Tarish. As you can see here, the Fisher Racing Mustang is still where we left it. Sebastian Zenner cutting as much as possible the chicane without taking a track limit violation, which probably happened to Pagliai and Brenum, because I'm seeing a red lap for them, and Tadic just behind. So the leader at the moment has somehow a second point free of advantage over everybody else. Pagliai then follows in second, just a second in front of Brenum. Then Axman, then Zenner, then 5 seconds to Burr. With Tadic and Herpel following 2 seconds behind. Seeing some aggressive moves from Pagliai to get in front of the GT4 driver there. As Brennan still remains in third at the moment. Hassan has to make dive into the inside on the 403 Mercedes ENG, who is actually the 25th placed car, which is in 5th place in class in GT4. Oh, that was nearly a contact between the two. Just behind, it was a nearly a contact between the Ginetta, who is actually very much outside. That was Vitaly Denisenko, who is last in class. And not battling with Mercedes that we just saw. For now, this battle remains calm, without too much trouble. I can't say the same about Sanel Tadic and Soenber. These two have been together since the very start of the race, practically. Gapped only because there was a Porsche in the middle. Porsche that is now in 4th place. Tadic has to follow Burr as closely as possible. Oh, that's a bit much on the grass. It wasn't a track limit violation, luckily. Ferrari still getting glued with Burr. Now can he take a position on the Fischer Racing car? Does he just get in front of a Porsche from CRT? That's 24th place, or 4th in class. Yeah, it's going to be a bit easy to read. And also you can see behind the Mustang is getting closer. That's Dustin Harpel back in contention. As now there is a bit of gap between Axman and Brennan, 2.3 seconds clearly. Oh wait, there was a contact there between Tadic and the young stars. Dynamic MC young stars there. As I sense, this is still going on without too much trouble. Can't say the same here because Pagliai and Messot are back together. Brennan is practically glued and looking from very, very close the situation unfolding here. Sebastian made a mistake. Zenner here. I can see him making a contact with another GT4, I suppose. Since he is a 2.5 behind Axman. As all three here are not even a second gap there. No! The rear not really participating in the action for Brennan. I sense that this still goes on. Meanwhile here, just behind Tadic, thrown into the grass by Soenber for 6th place, and yeah, you can meme about it. He was ahead at the apex. There was a car going somewhere else. There was the Mercedes completely spinning in the background. Can't see the number of that car. So yeah, he was ahead of the apex. Yeah. You can meme about it. Have fun with it. So yeah, there was contact between the Mustang and the Ferrari, with the Mustang that took control of the racing line in the most dominant way possible. Brennan, last lap, 7.5, 7.7 for Pagliai, 8.2 for Messot. 8.2 for Messot, or whether it was for traffic, or for tire management, or for a mistake on its own, we cannot know. What we can know is that these three are not saving anything. Axman behind 7.0. So in the last lap he gained half a second on Brenham and consequentially even more on the other two. As Lapin is now in front of Myram in 14th place. That's a car 115. As you can see here, with Honda losing the position on the Aston Martin, but okay, maintaining the one on Westia. So 15th place still inbound for Derek Lapin. So you go back here in 3rd place. The situation still the same. Though the gap is getting a bit larger. 7.2 for Messa, 7.1 for Pagliai, 7.0 for Brenham, 7.1 for Axman, and 7.0 for Zenner. Then 7.9 for Burr, who lost an eternity in this very last lap. Oh, that was a mistake there. That was a mistake by Pagliai. Brenham is now very close as we approach Starkey Straight. Can this become the opportunity for Brenham to get back at least in 2nd place? As the 116 remains for Emre Reparto coach. For Emre Reparto coach in 2nd. Closely following the Porsche. Can it be a dive bomb? He tries, he thinks. He started to partake in such activity. And then he remains behind. You know, Herpel is this time trying the attack on Sanel Talish. And 20 seconds behind, Tony Mahoney and Claudio Zazza also having some beef for 10th place. But even here, no direct contact between the two. I think I have to mention, there was a car going off. Was a car going off? I think it was definitely an Aston Martin, but I cannot see the number from here. It seems like the 407, maybe? No, the 419, apologies. The 419. So in GT4, the leader is Nikola Polyakov for Ford Club, then Simurai's Racing team follows just briefly behind, then Dynamic MS Youngstars is in 3rd. It's going to be a very brief comment on this as we are back in the overtaking business here. As Tony Mahoney and Claudio Zazza this time are about to have some contact, at least in terms of positions being exchanged. Last lap was a 7.7 for Mahoney, 7.6 for Zazza. And I think I spoke too soon because now the Ferrari took a good advantage over Fischer Racing. And now Mahoney has to lose some time behind the Maserati, leader of the race in GT4. Ooh, that's an Alpine just becoming a bit of an obstacle for the top two. Now Brennan lost 2 seconds in the last laps, because the last lap was definitely not a 2 seconds worthy mistake. It was a 7.4 for Brennan, 6.8 for both, actually for all 3 of them, meaning Axman, Pagliai and Messa. 7.0 for Zenner. Was okay, no, Silva is just glitched, didn't take the lead of the race. So Axman, you can see him in the Fischer Racing number 104 Porsche. It's behind Brennan. Last lap it was a 7.9 for Brennan, 7.3 for Axman, 7.1 for the top 2. And 6.9 for Zender. So I suppose Brennan is actually losing a lot of time on himself. Because there weren't any major problems. At least from what I saw. As Tony Mahoney is the first one to head into the pits. Remember, 45 minutes stint timer. 48. 48 minutes stint timer. Am I right? To just have a quick look, because now I'm questioning myself. Yeah, okay, I was right. So 48 minutes stint timer, and Erpel took the position on Burr and Tadic, who are actually going to fight for 7th now at the very line into the chicane, and the Mustang still remains in front of the Ferrari. But I'd like to see what really happened between these three here. As you go back into the replay. So I suppose there was some contact between the two. So there was a Ferrari going on outside. Some argy-bargy between the two, and the Mustang just took the better line here, and also took the position on both drivers. Nice situation there for Dustin Harper, who is now in 6th place in the Mustang for new engine, and 8 seconds behind Zenner. As Axman is still very much behind Brennan. 6.8, so he's back in business, but Pagliai made a 6.6, so in any case he lost time to the top 2. Okay, and the Porsche attack Lamborghini before the pit stop phase gets announced, which is going to happen in roughly a couple of minutes time. Ooh, late on the brakes. Oh, that was also some bottle up for the leader, who has been behind the Ginetta for... Oh, there is a contact there between the Porsche and the Aston because of the Aston Martin GT4 that went a bit too much wide on entry. Took by a contact. Took some contact with these two here, Mesa and Pagliai, who still are in 1st and 2nd. So lots of drivers went into the pits. Brennan, Axman, Zenner, probably. Everybody else will then follow. They actually just went in a lap earlier than anybody else. Because I don't see anybody else going for the pit. Zaza also stays out. Remember, 48-minute timer. So they will have to pit in a very little time. Meanwhile, the 411 is in trouble here. Now back on the racing surface. Pagliai was close to become the leader of the race, but he just missed the opportunity there after some bottling up because of some GT4s in the middle of the racing line, and with Mesa effectively being as aggressive as possible to keep himself in front of the Italian driver. Now, will they go into the pits? Will they stay out? They actually go back into the pits for the first time since qualifying to get their pit stop done. Can say the same about... No, never mind, I can say the same about Herpel. Not about Burr. Burr, Tadic, Belik, and I can see Zaza. Maybe going in. No, he actually remains out. So Storen Burr is technically your new leader of the race. I'm more interested in what is going to happen behind, because Brennan is here. Theoretically, first of the pitted drivers. Will he remain in front, even after the top two come out of the pits. Oh, look at this! And Aston Martin loses the position on the Lamborghini driver. And that is Brandon in front. That is Brandon now in the 101 in front of Pagliai, as Mesa just missed the opportunity to remain in P1. And so Mesa with a 2 seconds slower pit stop compared to Fiorentini and Brandon is now in third. Then behind we can see the 104 with Eddie Kane now, Fisher Racing number 104 in front of still the CMRC Endurance still in theoretically 5th. Although closer this time around to the Fisher Racing car. Lucas Rota is now in physically 16th, but as I said 5th. Very likely after the pits. Very close separation between the 1 and 2 and the Fisher Racing Porsche. And also, oh, that was a move into the inside for Fiorentini, throwing the car into the inside, making it into P1, and that's Fiorentini now in front of Brennum, closing the door as soon as possible on the outside. That's also the Lamborghini going on the inside line. Switch of positions again for these two, and the Porsche is also back in business. You can see Renaud Missa trying the position on his rival, as Mirko Fiorentini remains in front of the Porsche, but behind Brandon, who is now back in the very lead of the race. Although Milan Keys made something different, he is leading the race, although he made a pit because he didn't stop, he just went in for a drive-through. Thinking this will be the best tactic, Milan Keys is now in the lead of the race. Will he remain there? It's a very interesting tactic because nobody else went for it. As it stands, they are the only car going for such a plan, as the Lamborghini has to remain behind the KTM. Unfortunately, he gets behind the KTM, can't really do anything apart from looking at his rival behind in his mirror, getting bigger and bigger. And now into the inside. Oh, that's a Porsche actually going for the inside line. Can't make it into the chicane. The Lamborghini remains behind. The remains in front. The Fiorentini behind. Lost some time on the former leader at this point, because effectively Milan Keys is the leader, even counting the pit stop, because they are on a different tactic. And Domesai is still in 4th. Eric came 1.8 seconds behind, and Lucas Rode can't really make an overtake unless he throws the car into the final hairpin. He doesn't do so. He remains where he is. And the KTM behind, that was Dieter Bletten, losing the possible position on Patrick Dieng. That will be the 403 getting the position done. Yes, it is. 5th place for the Mercedes driver. The KTM is now in 6th. Oh, never mind. He's back in 5th. Easy. Probably. The 401 having some troubles after start of the race. Former pole sitter lost a place. Yeah, that's the place done. The Mercedes is now in front. That's Bletten and Dieng exchanging positions with Dieng now in front. So Milan Keys' lap will be an interesting number, because remember, they are effectively leading the race. They went for the pits according to their name, so that works, but they went for a drive-through, which resets the stint timer, but they will have to pit some time into the future because of the fuel. They can't really go forever, but they decided to go for a drive-through because the pit lane here is very short. And I will be honest, I don't know how much it will work, but I'm very interested. They are the only car in the GT3 class that went for drive-through. But not the... Oh, what is happening behind? Look at this! Messoi is into the grass, being pushed out by Fiorentini. Now Haim is now in front of Fiorentini. And the road is in front of Messa after a collision between the Italian and the French driver. in the middle of the pack, and now Lucas Rode is trying to get a position done also on the Aston Martin, closing the door a bit too late. Maybe, no, he actually goes in front just in time to avoid Lucas Rode getting the position done on the Italian team. As Mirko Fiorentini defends and attacks and defends and attacks, and now he finds himself in 4th place behind Eric Heim, who was way behind at the very start of the race, as he was in 6th place. Fiorentini is in 4th, Rode is in 5th, and Mesa behind all of them. Now Brennan will... oh, look at that happening behind, with Rode practically defending as much as possible the inside line, contact between the two cars, colliding into the second to last hairpin. And then Rode still defending the inside line into the final hairpin. The Porsche takes the outside line. Can he make the move on the outside? That will be a phenomenal move, but there is a McLaren just sitting there. Can the Aston box the Porsche? No, it doesn't do so, and the Porsche makes it into the outside line, and Messiah is now in 5th place in front of Rode, making the move on the outside, even behind a GT4. He didn't care at all at what was happening, but it's still not over. Look at Rode, he's still on the inside. Can he make the move back? He does so into turn 1, makes some contact with the Porsche, still on the... Oh, there is contact! Oh, there is a crash, and both cars are out, with Messiah having the worst end of the two, with Rode into the gravel after losing the car altogether. Messiah is now in 9th place, and Beckman is going to make the move into the former leader and pole sitter of the race, and that's now Rode is in 6th place, having lost about 8 seconds because of the incident between Messiah and the CMRC Endurance. We can have a better look at what happened between the two. As this is what happened. Look at this from the helicam. The Porsche was on the outside, went a bit in the grass, lost some momentum. The Aston tried to go on the inside line, and the Porsche lost the rear on himself. Then had a worse fate by losing a massive chunk of time. So he's now in 9th place. Yeah, okay, Mesa did indeed in the end crash. Yeah, I think I owe you an apology, but just an half one because Rode still is in 6th. And oh wait, Brennan, yeah. No, my mistake, it's a full apology because Brennan is actually winning, yeah. So I owe a full apology as it stands. It's too erratic. I noticed. I can't really say anything. Yes, I noticed. There was a lot of contact, a lot of nervousness. I think it's the correct word. And it then went very bad very quickly. I think now Rode has the opportunity to make a move on Beckman. Just overdoes it. I mean, in that case, it was very odd because it seemed like the car snapped off. I would like to see it again as Heim makes the move on Milan Kiss, who at this point is just letting the other cars pass by. So yeah, the 107 drive-through sim racing is not really battling for the win as it stands, nor defending for position. But yeah, as I was saying, I would like to see it again after this battle is over, although I think it's momentarily over. But from the cockpit camera, it was a very odd one. Okay, I can go for a replay. Let's have a look on the onboard. So this is the perfect camera. Look at this. He goes on the grass. On the right there is the Aston Martin. Still side by side. Oh no, he went too much on the inside. And the car bottomed out. That's exactly what happened. Yeah, it's just very unfortunate. At the same time, he technically made a mistake because he went over the curb. A curb which famously isn't flat. And so the result was that one. Obviously not done on purpose. But yeah, so now in 9th. And behind this group of cars, which Rode also finds himself, as Herpel is also in 7th place. Remember, he was in front of both Tadic and the Future Racing Mustang. After the pits, he came back just in front of one of them, the Ferrari, while the Mustang is now in a 5th place, with their teammates in 2nd. Now look at this. Can Herpel make a majestic move? Oh wait, let's go for it. Can go in front of Rode. I also wonder how much damage is present on the Simmersee's car. It should be just side damage. So, worst case scenario, they have some rear end damage, which will not be great. Certainly, it will not be as bad as Messoir Aftermath, since that car is probably damaged in the front, and also the tires are ruined. Very likely. Sadic and Herpel are also still having beef. These two are still maintaining the same positions. Don't be sure about these ones though, because Lapin, Max and Philip are also battling for 16th place, and there's a lot of aggressiveness in this group. Also, early on I was describing the pit strategies, and it is interesting how the drive-thru sim racing team wasn't the only one to go for a drive-thru. The leader in GT4, Luis Petzold at the moment, for dynamic Messiaen stance, also came in only for a drive-thru. Even more strangely, Ford Club went in only for fuel. Not to change tires, they remained on the same set of tires, they just refueled the car, and now they are back in action. So these are the only teams that went in for a different strategy. Also important to state that Cypress, for the Future Racing BMW, remained stationary for 7 more seconds compared to everybody else because of damage on the car, and now sits behind Vincenzo Senatore in the 119 reparto coaching. Meanwhile here Beckman and, no, this is an awful camera, Beckman and Rode still battling for position, although Rode is obviously in a different set of skill set. Set of skill set is a awful repetition. Set of ability. Let's put it this way. But this track is not really helpful for the overtakes, and so Rode has to remain behind Eric Beckman. With 2 hours to go, only 1 hour. Let Mercedes jumped away from the 7th for a moment. Only 1 hour passed, and it was quite an eventful hour. I think everything that could have happened, and very little still remains. I wouldn't be surprised by. I think the only thing that remains is a little disconnection. This will be like the cherry on top for the whole list of things that can happen. But as it stands, if you miss the first hour, well, bad for you. And second of all, Lucas Rode, who was the pole sitter, now sits in 6th because of some incidents early on with some GT4s, which unfortunately I never had the chance to put the replay on. And an incident with Rodan Messoir, who is now in 9th place. That one was also clearly analyzed, and it ended up being some bottoming up for, oh, no, never mind, for Messoir, who ran out of suspension travel, and so bottomed out the car, which then went into understeer on the side of Lucas Rode, putting the 108 in the gravel and the 102 in 6th place, in a position on which this car still hasn't resurfaced from. And it's very important because Massa is just behind this group of cars, so if any damage is present on the French driver, it's not enough to slow him down. Little rundown of our entire race. Oystein Brunum started the race in 4th place, made a very good start, put the car in 2nd, and never mind what I was about to say, because look at this! There is Daniel Tadic and Redon Messoa going for a switch of positions as the Porsche makes it into 8th place, just ahead of Daniel Tadic and a 2nd behind Herpel. Now the gap between Rode and Messoa is a car length. Well, not a car length, it's actually just a car. I think it's several car lengths. Okay, I will go for seconds, it's way easier. It's 1.4 seconds. And Lucas Rode is not really having a good time. Even without spinning, he's still in the middle of it all and can't really resurface from this battle. Now, can the Ferrari answer back? Or will Daniel Tadic remain behind the Porsche with a very interesting move on the outside? Can he make it on the outside? Can he complete the move? He actually goes in front of the Porsche for roughly 2 seconds before going back behind Messoa, but Tadic is not over with it. He still wants the position, he still wants to fight. Just before the chicane, who will break later? It's going to be a Ferrari. That's the position there again for Tadic, who goes back in 8th place. As also, Mirko Fiorentini is now in front of Eric Heim. There was possibly a mistake, as Lucas Rode is also in front of the Mustang, as Messoa lost the place that was trying to achieve on Tadic. So everything happened at the very same moment. So you can see with our replay what exactly happened to everybody. So there was the overtake between Heim and... oh wait, this was... oh, again, it's a teammate car! It's a teammate car for the Fischer Racing! It's, again, the Fischer Racing interaction that ruins everything. Rode makes the position there, and then Tadic gains back the position on Messoa after the French driver went way too deep on the corner. Incredible. Incredible what just happened here between Eric Heim and couldn't pinpoint the car that collided with them. But it was a Fischer Racing GT4 which made Heim lose position on Mirko Fiorentini. Miller Herpel here. Oh, look at this. Look at this. It's Beckman overtaking the very same Cayman as early on, the Fischer Racing Academy race car. The Aston, apologies, the Aston Martin. As, oh, Cypress and Senatore incident between the two. We'll see instantly what just happened. So it was a battle between CMRC 119 and yeah, that was not going to happen. Complete takedown for Senatore, who threw out of the way the 106 BMW. The burnout fandom will be proud, but that will probably be a penalty in the steward room. Lucas Rode and Milan Keys battling for position on the main straight, although I think Milan Keys will give the position. Yes, that's what just happened. Can't say the same about Herpel and Beckman, because Herpel still wants to attack the other Mustang. And Tadic is also just behind. Look at him going for the move on the inside, as the 105 has to defend the outside, which is quite difficult as it stands. And Tadic makes the position momentarily on the Mustang. More contact between the two. Yeah, that's a bit more than a friendly contact. And the Mustang gains back the position on the Ferrari. And Messoa is about to do the same on the very same Ferrari. As Tadic defends the inside line. Messoa tries to go on the outside. Loses the rear on entry. And still remains in 9th place. Meanwhile, his rival, Lucas Rode, is in 4th. About 5 seconds in front. No, 4 seconds in front. And lapping 6.8. Oh, that was... Oh! Messoa is into the grass! Can he survive this incident? Yes, he does survive it. But he's very aggressive at the moment, and Kevin Bellick is also very close to making it into 9th place, because Messoa is extremely aggressive at the moment and nervous, obviously, because of what just happened on the racetrack. This car was leading the race not even half an hour ago, now it's in 9th, and meanwhile Eric Heim tries the outside line after a contact with their sister team that effectively took them out for a brief moment, and also created some damage on this car. Eric Heim remains behind as Beckman makes the position on Milan Keys in front of Dustin Herpel. Can Heim make the move back into second? In front of the Italian, not this time around. Last lap it was a 7.6 for Fiorentino, and a 7.4 for Heim, and a 7.4 for Rode, and a 7.2 for Beckman. With Keys in front of Herpel and Tadic, who still wants the position number 7, although it may become 6 or even 5. So not position number 4, as Milan Keys is not really racing with them, and since they are on a different strategy, he doesn't defend as to not ruin the tires. As remember, they are on all tires. They went in for a drive-through only, same as the leader in GT4, who still is the leader in GT4 by 3 seconds. But that's also because the tires in GT4 class are way more okay. The tires in GT4 are way stronger, and so they can survive more tire wear. But it was a bit of a mistake there for Herpel, who has to defend against Tadic, who doesn't have the upper hand this time around. And so Herpel for now remains 1.5 seconds behind. Meanwhile, Max tried the position first, didn't manage to do so. Just behind. Oh, this is the overtake between Heim and Fiorentini, who was stuck behind the Porsche Cayman, boxed behind the Cayman, who is actually the position number, I can't really see, the 415 in 41st place, in 11th in class. Meanwhile, Messoa makes the position on Milan Keys, and Bellick does the same as Maniram made the position on Claudio Zazza, who made a mistake. So this is what happened to Claudio Zazza. I don't think it was a contact. Oh, he lost the rear on himself. he lost the on himself, unfortunately. So now Eric Hamer is back in front of Mirko Fiorentini. With a very important move that happened early on. I will try to see if I can show you a replay of the action. Yes, I can. So look at this. So this is what happened. The Aston, unfortunately, well, for them, not for him, was stuck behind the Cayman and couldn't really make any move. And so Haim, in a very opportunistic way, took the position number 2. And Haim is back in second place now. Serpel, extremely close to Beckman. For FIFA Racing Esports. 2 seconds behind. Tadic still in front of both Messoa and Bellic, and technically Kiss. Although very far away. And it's finally a bit of a calmer race. There was a moment where I couldn't physically breathe, otherwise I would have lost informations, and now I can finally have some more control in the action, because what happened early on, if you did lose it, it was incredible. It was everything, everyone all at once. Now Herpel very close to Beckman, but again Beckman is very good into the defensive action. I cannot it seems like he doesn't have any real trouble defending. Yeah, look at this. Even if he was clearly on the offset with Herpel, he still managed to defend against Herpel, who cannot find a way this time around with Beckman weaving a bit. Okay, yeah, that was a bit outside the lines. But as it stands, Beckman still remains in 5th. Herpel cannot make the move into 5th, and Tadic is now just behind Herpel, and Messoa is effectively just there, bringing Bellic with him. So it's a 5-way battle for 5th place. As the Maserati 404 just in the middle of the way. Messoa is trying the position on the inside with Tadic, who was stuck behind Maserati. And look at this, Tadic goes on the inside, some goes with the Porsche, some goes with Bellic, who makes some contact with Aston, who is trying everything in their power to make contact with someone else, it seems like. They are not really giving away any centimeter, even if they kind of have to after a while. Oh, that's Herpel. That's Herpel into the grass, but that's also contact between Messoa and Tadic. We'll see the incident afterwards. As Kiss is now into the pits with the alternate strategy, and Messoa couldn't make the position on Tadic. What happened to Herpel in the 105? We can have a look at it just now. This is what happened. You can see from the outside. Really, because I don't know if it was a contact with the Maserati. Oh yeah, it was a slight contact, but it was just enough to put the car off track and make it lose 7 seconds and positions. Now Tadic 10 seconds behind Beckman, and only a couple of meters in front of Messoa, who is now in 7th place. Now Kiss is back on the racetrack, full service. Obviously, their race is a very interesting one, I would say, because remember, they didn't pit, they just went in for a drive-thru. And so they can go 1 hour and 15 minutes with a single tank, which makes it 2 hours and 30 minutes. So a splash and dash at the end could bring them in a very interesting position. No, what happened there? Okay. And Messoa was trying the outside line, but again, wasn't able to do so. So as I was saying, Milan Keys can go at least until half an hour before the end of the race on this fuel stint, and obviously tire stint. No, because they have to pit anyway, so they have to go through the pits again. But the drive-through is only 20 seconds. So I wonder if it's going to be enough to gain positions. We'll see at the end of the race. Meanwhile, here is the battle between Christian Winkler, who unfortunately found himself a protagonist of a team incident. And he's now battling with the 408 Matthew Hughes. That's Apex Predators in the Ginetta 408. Just meters, not even meters, centimeters, not even centimeters, not even nothing at all. It's actually side by side between these two, with the Future Racing Aston Martin, which stays behind. Ginetta with a better line through the S's. Now can the Aston make it here? No, it doesn't. It remains behind the Ginetta. So the Future Racing team will have to look at the Ginetta's rear a tiny bit more. Meanwhile, Lapin is into the gravel. What just happened here? So clearly something happened to this car. Oh, it was unfortunately just running out of room, and then there was another incident. This time, just behind, between the 118 and Vincenzo Senatore. You can hear the gravel from the earlier car. And then, oh, another takedown this time. Oh, freeway incident. That took two cars out. That was Bella Philip, Vincenzo Senatore, and Dominic Cypress once more involved in an incident. As Kevin Bellick is trying to attack on Messoa, and not even trying, actually accomplishing the overtake. Look at this, he is now in 7th place in front of Messoa. Kevin Bellick in a Mustang. Can get into 7th place. Messoa is now in 8th. So tremendous downfall for the French driver, who had the chance to make it into 1st place early on. He's now in 8th and battling for 7th place, but can't make it here. So yeah, Reto Messoa is now just there, stuck behind Bellick. Bellick, who is actually very close to Stanley Tarish. Last lap around it was a 7.0 for Tarish, a 6.7 for Bellick, and a 7.4 for Messoa. So Bellick actually running quicker than anybody else in the last lap. So Bellick was actually the quickest car in the whole field in the last lap. So this car all of a sudden is coming back from the dead. They're having started in 21st, so last of the GT3 class. I think the aim here was to go for last of first attempt. which is fair. And now Bellic is in 7th, with Tadic being his next objective. We'll take this moment to say thank you to all of our sponsors and partners from 4LFM, as we have Nitro Concepts, C-Magic, Go Setup, ACC Drive, Syncmesh, and obviously CaseKing.de. All of them help us here at LFM, help us having commentary, having the servers, having the races, having everything you are seeing right now. And also there are a couple of links in chat where you can also save yourself some money, because there is a 10% discount code with GoLFM in the GoSetups.gg website. So if you want to improve yourself, well, you have a lot of opportunities here at LFM. All the links in the channel info or in chat, as always. Also important to state that this championship is brought to you by ACC Drive, and the winner of the Division 1 is going to have 10 lifetime licenses. So a good prize for the winner, for the winning team in this endurance championship. As Tadic is very close, not even close, actually next to, for a brief moment, he is now back behind Beckman for 5th place. This battle was a bit calm. Oh, there was some contact there between Beckman and Tadic. You can clearly see now Tadic going on the inside line. The Ferrari driver trying to make the position on the inside. Oh, the Ferrari gets thrown into the grass, destroying the braking marker, and that's the Porsche going for a 2 in a single move. That's Messa going in 6th place. After the contact between Beckman and Tadic, with Beric, who unfortunately lost some time, and then Forst is not having a good time because he's glitching in the race. I cannot select anymore. Okay, thank you. Beric, who actually goes for the move on Sanel Tadic. In copies to turn 8. I want to see again what happened early on between Messa, Beric, Tadic and Beckman. It was an incredible move, the one taken out from the cylinder. Let's have a look at it, because this was the move for position. So look at this. With the Ferrari going on the grass. This is the replay interrupting itself in the middle. Very, very nice. Then obviously, okay, we cannot see it. I sometimes love this tool, and we sometimes, I mean, not really much, and not really a lot of times. So this was Beric going in front of Tadic. And also Messa made it in front of Beckman just when the replay was going on. So complete gain for Messa, who managed to go from 8th to 5th in practically a single lap. And now the Mustang is trying to defend as much as possible. Beckman still is in 6th. Beric has to defend against the Ferrari driver. It's clear that Beckman is defending more than necessary, as also Herpel is back in business, trying to achieve something here. Messa just gained 2 seconds on this group of cars. which is essentially being slowed down by Beckman's will to remain ahead. In a track like this, it's very difficult to make a move, and so every opportunity counts. As 50% of the race is currently gone. Oh, this is a very nice line for Bellic, who goes over the chicane, remains inside the lines, goes for the dive. I think a bit too much, but in any case, oh no, he lost the rear. Can he remain in front of Beckman? No, he cannot. He remains behind. Bellic now has to think about something else. As Beckman is depending way too much, to be fair. It's more the time that is being lost at the moment than the one that is being gained. For Beckman. With Bellic currently gained 14 positions. So nice race at the moment for Kevin Bellic, but obviously I think it's a bit natural that he went from last to as up as I can kind of race. As Messoa already has 3 seconds gap on this group of cars. Can Bellic make the same move as early on? It seems like it, because it was a very wide entry for Beckman, but this time, oh, Beckman was trying to actually defend the inside line and slows down enough to keep Bellic behind and in place. This is becoming practically a 100% effort to remain where he is, as if it was the lead of the race, but it just went wide. Oh, never mind, because Bellic just lost the rear when he had the opportunity to make it into 6th place. And Tadej Nerfel just looking behind and kind of getting fed up with Bellic's wasted opportunities at the point where they want to make the moves, and I think they can. But it's also likely that Bellic's move, if and when it will happen, is going to start a chain reaction where also Tadej and Nerfel will pass through. So they kind of have to remain on the offensive, but not too much. They kind of have to use Bellic's abilities, who at the moment is the one that is ruining Beckman's race as much as possible. But now Beckman has lost another 2 seconds on Messoa. And again for the very same move. This time for 6th place. Can Bellic make it into the braking zone? Yes, he does. And as I said earlier, Tadej makes the very same move on Beckman, who now has to defend against Nerfel because he cannot really attack the Ferrari. Meanwhile, a lot is happening behind because I'm seeing 3 yellow flags. Oh, that's why Beckman is now into the pits. As he lets go these cars. And so the battle is now over for 5th place, as Bellic, Tadej and Nerfel are done with it. And a lot, what is happening behind? Okay, I will wait some seconds because I have everything here, as also Messoa went into the pits. Seems like someone took someone else way too many times. So it was a 103. Started it all. Oh, it was a drive-through for the 114. Apologies. It was a drive-through for Beckman. That's why they went into the pits. So, oh, there is an incident there between the Ferrari and the Mustang, as Bellic is losing position on both cars. And now Bellic sits in 7th after all that has happened. So we'll see what happened, because I saw 1,000 of yellow flags I'm not sure why. I'd like to see them all. This was... Oh, that was another takedown, this time with the 103. Took out the GT4. And this is what was happening behind with Claudio Zazza. I suppose making contact with the very same car that has been taken out. Oh yeah, oh, another incident, yeah. Yeah, that's what happened. There were another couple of yellow flags. And this was the incident I was worried about, because it was between Senatore and another car, which... Oh, that's another takedown. But I think that's... Oh, that's the incident. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then this was the incident that put Tadic back in front of the Mustang. So it's a rundown of incidents. Yeah, it was Beric who lost the rear end of the car. That's what happened. A little rundown of incidents, and now we are back on live. So that's why Senatore had some damage to the car, and there were about 3 cars with yellow flags. And also pit stops have happened in this time. I sure hope nothing is happening. Oh, look at this. Trouble. No, okay, never mind. Maybe. Because Brenham is in 6th. Haim is in 7th, so technically 2nd. Tanner is in 8th. Ah, because Fiorentini is now into the pits. Okay, now it makes sense. But look at Zentner, how close he is to Haim now. Haim lost 4 seconds in the pits. A tremendous amount of time. Suppose some damage has been repaired, but Mirko Fiorentini is now back in 2nd place. With Eric Haim in 3rd. Zentner in 4th. And as it stands, I think Messiah is in 5th. But Appin is effectively in the middle of the way between Zentner and Messiah. It's going to be interesting when the French driver will get to this fight, because it's... Oh, look at this sideways for a moment. That was Derek Lapin in the 115 Honda. Zaza is again yellow flags, but nothing is happening here. Brenham is back at the lead of the race. Following is Tommaso Pagliai in 2nd place. Eric Haim in 3rd, having lost 4 seconds in the pits. And Sebastian Zentner follows in 4th, just behind, with Redon Messoa in 5th place. And then look at this, Belic is ahead of the Ferrari as Tadic is trying to make the move into the inside line, and he does so outside of the pits. It's what it is. It's still going on. The second after the pit lane ended, they were already battling, and the Belic is now back in 7th with Tadic in 6th, and Herpel just behind. Remember, Beckman is so much behind because he had to go through a drive-thru for exceeding track limits. As you can see, Belic trying as hard as possible to hit the tires up. He didn't remain stationary for damage repair. He chose to keep it that way. But I'm also looking forward because look at this, Zenner and Aim. That will be for third place. And these two are not battling 35 seconds behind. They are just 13 seconds behind. Not even, apologies, 11.6 to be exact. And so, battle for the lead is theoretically still on. With 80 minutes to go. Oh, that's the Porsche getting stuck behind an Aston Martin, and once more an Aston Martin ruins the battle for the podium, with Harry Heim losing the position on Zedner. How the turntables. Early on it was Harry Heim who used the very same Aston Martin to gain the position on Tommaso Pagliai. Now it was the other way around, with Harry Heim losing the position because of the very same reason. But Sebastian Zedner, who is now in third, and very likely en route to battle for second place with the Italian driver. Unless Heim will simply keen to throw the car. Inside, no, it doesn't do so. Unfortunately, Milan Keys went into the pits, so probably they changed he changed. I think it's just a single car effort for Milan Keys. He decided to change strategy and he's back to. No, wait. No, he's not. He's still in 9th, so it's clear that the strategy didn't pay off at this point. As if it was about work, it would have been about 5th, 6th? But possibly the battle that he had early on also ruined the strategy in a sense. As bad here. Still slightly behind Samuel Tadic. Oh, he lost a lot of time here because of the Aston Martin, of the Mercedes-Benz GT4. And Herbel was about to make a move, but he didn't. So, in that moment, he may do so now. As he remains behind. So just have a look at the GT4 field here, because Istvan Antal, Simurai's racing team, and Lafleur for Khalid racing team are battling for second place, third place, apologies, for third place. As also you can see here Zenner passing by. This could be the chance for Antal to make it into third place, but look at that, Battery Tieng is also very close to these two. This is easily a freeway battle for the podium. But Heim is losing some time every single lap to Zenner. Last lap it was a 6.7 for Zenner, 6.4 for Pagliai, and 6.7 for Brennan. Heim made a 7.1. MSUA a 6.2. As you can see here, that's Lafleur losing the position on Antal, and the McLaren makes the move. No, it doesn't. No, actually it doesn't. He remains behind. It will be a good opportunity for Patrick Dieng to make it into third, or at least into fourth. It doesn't do so. Very aggressive McLaren there, the 407. Now Lafleur, can he remain in front of Antal in the chicane? He does. Oh, it was clearly an opportunity for Antal. Oh, this is a good chance. He could have gone for the dive bomb. He chose not to. As the McLaren still remains behind me. Heim and Zenner have only 3 tenths of gap now, with Zenner that made a terrible lap, 7.3 for him. Heim 6.5. I will have a look at the gaps. Meanwhile, we stay here with this battle because this is for the podium position. That's for third in GT4 class. Remember that the... Oh, that's a Ferrari off! That's starting off! That's starting off! Look at him going for a 360 and colliding with a GT4 car! And that was... oh, that was huge! That was huge! As also Hunter lost a lot of time. So look at this. What? This is the wrong car! Why is it here? So this was the final part of the incident. For some reason, the wrong accident has been taken out of this. Okay, way better. So have a look at what exactly happened. With the Ferrari trying to overtake the McLaren, getting a bit taken by surprise. And unfortunately, then went on to go for a 360 degrees. In all of these, Isvan Antal lost a lot of time. And I'd like to know why. So this was the aftermath after the Ferrari, clearly. So little contact. Then took off the McLaren. Oh, they just went wide. Yeah, they just went wide and lost the position on the rival. Yeah, very unfortunate. Even more so because Tadic is now behind Kiss. As more trouble is happening here. There's a car off. So both Zaz and Lapin are battling for 14th place. I can clearly hear the KTM with its... Oh no, it was the Ginetta, I think. Yeah, definitely. Time is now back to a 2.8 with Zenner, so clearly it was just a traffic issue for the pole sitter. Now in third, 4 seconds behind Pagliai, and 11 behind the leader, Brenum. Oystein Brenum, who is driving alone. As Derek Lappin here, 14th place, last lap it was at 8.1 for both drivers, effectively keeping the rhythm the same. As Aki Raunio is off the racetrack. There's a 409 definitely having some rally in the second sector. Nothing too much to worry about. As Lappin still here. Look at this. Azada is trying the inside line for 13th place. But the Honda is still there on the inside as he goes for the lunge. Oh, that was a huge contact between the two, and Zaza keeps the position, so fair play to Lappin, who understood the situation and chose to give up the position. And the Honda lost the position on Zaza then. Meanwhile, back in front, because Redouane Messoa is very, very close to Eric Heim for 4th place. This car is very quick, 6.2, fastest car on track at the moment, and it would have been the fastest car of them all, but the last lap was with an off track, so it wasn't taken into account for the fast laps. And oh wait, what's happening there? What, that was Eric Heim colliding and taking out an NSX. What just happened? As another Ferrari goes out to avoid the very Porsche I was mentioning. What just happened to the 104? Let's have a look back. No, it wasn't an NSX, it was a McLaren. Look at the, oh yeah, definitely not a great one. Not a great move for the McLaren. Unfortunately, put Harry Heim on the wrong side of the table, with Messoa effectively now in 4th. But it was incredible to be seen from outside. Look at this again. This time from Messoa splitter. So we are just behind. You can see the Porsche and the McLaren. The McLaren going on outside, the Porsche doing the same. They just miscommunicated and threw both of them out of the race. Well, out of the racetrack, not the race. And now Harry Heim is in 5th place, 7 seconds behind Messoa. And 5 in front of Bellic, who is still gaining 6.6 in the last lap for Bellic. Making him one of the fastest cars, if not the fastest, of the whole field. It's not, because there is one that went just quicker by 2 milliseconds. And that was Sanel Tadic in the Ferrari 113, who is currently battling with Milan Keys, a second and a half in front. Then back behind, because these two are still battling for 13th place. And there is also the battle for 3rd in GT4 class, as Tony Mahoney is into the pits with 68 minutes to go. And I will just take a brief pause for a couple of minutes because I have to take some water, and otherwise I cannot really have enough voice in me, as I went 2 hours without a single pause, effectively. So we'll just go for a single lap with direct lapping to be sure no overtake gets lost. As we are now back in action with Claudio Zazza and Derek Lapin, who are actually exchanging positions. And also there is Samuel Tadic and Milan Kiss in 8th and 9th that just switched positions. We can have a look at what just happened here between the two. So this was the overtake between the two Ferraris, with Tadic going on the inside, and in the second to last hairpin, rather an easy pass for the 113 for Quantum Forces. So 8th place for Samuel Tadic. Meanwhile, Herpel is 12 seconds in front. Remember that this car went on for 360 degrees early on because of a contact with the McLaren. That is now here in 4th place. This is the battle for 3rd, I know, but it was important because the battle for 2nd, not even... Ah no, see, okay. It's in 3rd because one of the GT3s apparently disconnected from the race or retired altogether. And so now the positions overall are one less. So 22nd is 3rd, 24th is 4th, and so on. So this is battle for the podium position, the final podium position. And it's still the one between Lafleur and Young, between Dynamic MS Youngstars and Callister Racing Team, with a bit of help, maybe, from a Porsche. It wasn't Harry Haim. It was another Porsche. It was a 120 sitting in 15th place. But this battle for second has been going on for quite a long time. And probably find itself ending in the very first. Oh, this is a bit of contact. That's more than a bit of contact. That's Redouane Messoir, who unfortunately was just behind these two and effectively gifted the Mercedes-Benz driver with Patrick Dieng the position number 3 in class. So that's why the Porsche was flashing the lights, clearly not really happy about what just happened. To have a better idea of what just happened, you can see from the Hurricane, because look at this. The Mercedes was sitting on the inside line, the Porsche on the outside, and that Porsche GT3 that is coming through, that's Redouane Messoir, who pushed gently in some way the other Porsche, the GT4 Cayman, and put it out of line. And so by doing such a move, Patrick Dieng is now in 3rd place in GT4 category. Eric Lapin, G-League Esports still in 14th and still behind the Claudio Zazza. You know, the situation in front is not really changing. Pagliai is still 7 seconds behind Brennan. Zenner still 4. Messoir still 4. Heim is losing a lot of time though. Heim lost a tremendous amount of time. And oh, that's Tadic off. That's Tadic off in the middle of the race. Of the racing line. So I wonder what happened here to Sanel Tadic. So was it all on? Yeah, it was all on his own. You can see him going very, very close call with the Ginetta that was passing through. As Petzold is actually battling for the lead. This is a battle for the lead in GT4 class between Michael Krasov and Luis Petzold. With the two Maseratis that are battling without traction control, remember? The 117 is not having a good time here. Marco Persechini for GB17 sitting in the middle of the grass. As these two are still battling for the very lead. Look at him. Oh, that's a bit of impeding from one of the GT4 cars. Since no, that's very close to the grass for Zenner. That was actually on the grass for Zenner. He will lose some time very likely on this lap, as you can see, with the 404. Oh, free wide into the entry line of turn number 6, and by doing so the 402 is trying to achieve the position in front of Michael Krasov, Luis Petzold, trying everything in their power with a switchback line, a little bit of contact between the two because of Zenner's line, and that was the lead changing. That's Luis Petzold now in the lead of the GT4 class. And this battle also helped massively Redouane Messoir. By 2 seconds, the gap has been reduced between Messoir and Zenner, as these two were battling, but I think Petzold is giving back the position because it was maybe a bit outside the rules. But Petzold is also maintaining the inside line as to giving the position, but not so much, as he goes back behind him. So the battle for the lead still goes on, as Messoir and Zenner. 2 seconds only between the two. Zenner's last lap was a 30.8 compared to 28.0, and oh, something happened here. So Bella Philip who is back to the garage. Oh, what just happened? There was a car getting thrown out. And something happened because Eric Haim is clearly involved in some incidents. Or maybe just one. So the 104 is now in 7th place. And I would like to see why. So there was... so this is the Porsche, clearly. 104. Making contact, maybe? Oh yeah, I made contact with the Mercedes-Benz GT4. Oh, that was also the Mustang passing through. That was Kevin Bellick. That unfortunately hit heavily Harry came. After I would like to see this again because I saw a car nearly flipping over how heavy the contact was. Oh yeah, it is. Oh, that was massive. Yeah, that was really not a great one for Bella Philip. And unfortunately, I think the other car was Dustin Harpel getting involved in the incident. As Persechini is still in the grass. And also Petzold and Krasov change positions. Now Krasov is in second place with Petzold in first. Unfortunately, there was a lot going on, so the overtake has been lost. And so now Reza Messoa is just a second behind Zenner. Bellick is now in 5th, but with damage in the front end of the car. And I'm not sure how little that was. Herpel also has damage on the front end of the car. Eric Haim is now in 7th. Sanel Tadic just spun early on, and Storenberg is going to make the position from the outside. And that is the FIFA Racing Mustang going on from the outside to the inside, cutting the line on Sanel Tadic's car. And that's 8th place for Storenberg, 9th place for Sanel Tadic, who is now going on to follow his rival. As Tobias Westie spinning in the background in a 1-2-0. And nearly colliding with another car. So this was the incident for a 1-0. Oh, there was a lot going on there. So there were a couple of cars not having a good time. At the 4-0, it's been involved in another incident. This time with Sanel Tadic. No? Okay, never mind. I thought so. This time with a fellow GT4 car, but nothing in particular happened. So go back here because The battle for third place overall is definitely ongoing. Sebastian Zenner 7.0 in the last lap, Redouan Messois 7.3, but the gap is only 1 second now. Only 1 second for French driver that is about to compete for the podium, and who knows, maybe even second place. 53 minutes to go, and it will be interesting to be sure how the gap decreases per lap, considering 8 seconds is still the gap between Pagliai and the duo at the end, because it's not even Zenner alone, it's Zenner and Messois together. We saw how Messois can be aggressive, so I think the second this battle becomes reality, we will see a move from the Porsche driver to get the best out of it and to get in front of the pole sitter of the race. With Brandon still leading now by 5 seconds on Tommaso Pagliai. To the braking zone, that was a bit wide, maybe in entry. Slightly wide in entry for the Messois. Probably getting way more speed than expected with a slipstream. Which is fair, makes sense. Even by doing so, he's not really losing time. If anything, he's gaining. Last lap around it was a 6.8 for Zenner and a 6.3 for Messois. This time around it's going to be a 6.5 for one of them. Messois went for a 6.4. Oh, that was the rear slipping off Zenner's car. Oh, this is the time of change, very likely. As Porsche remains behind, thinks about it, but it's way better to wait for an opportunity to appear. That opportunity may be that GT4 just in the middle of the way. It is the Cayman that early on has been thrown into the distance, never to be talked about again. The contact with one of the GT3 cars. Well, contact, the demolition, nearly getting rolled. As also there is the battle for 8th place here between Taric and Soenber. But this one I don't think it will change here. So we stay in third. A very aggressive Redouan Messois. There was maybe a contact, not entirely sure. 50 minutes to go, so they can't go into the pits yet. They have to wait 2 laps to then get into the pits, to then try an undercut, to then try something different to the rival. It's probably going to end up with opposite of your rival for Messois. Obviously the question is, will he go long or will he pit early? Oh no, there is an incident there between themselves again, getting involved in another incident. And the 108 with some side damage that has been picked up this time around. There was also a penalty for the 115, a drive-through, which is Derek Lapin. Big shunt between two as the leader goes through. And still the battle for third goes on in GT4 class. As there is also Another important battle happening up front. There is the battle for 8th place between Soren Bohr and Sanel Tadic. So Fisher racing against Penguentum. Because the 113 still has to attack one of the most defensive cars in the whole pack. Now, will that contact be detrimental for the final pit stop? Because Messoa could repair the car if the damage is too high. At the same time, repairing the car means they will lose time. So what time do you want to lose? The performance one or the pit one? And that's going to be an interesting decision as Lapin goes into the pits, maybe a bit too early, considering how close we are to the 48 minutes. Bit on the grass for the Penguentum there, as Giuseppe Motta just overtook Tega Leonels because he went into the pits. These two are effectively glued together. You can see the Ferrari's point of view that doesn't really give much. Now it does, since the Mustang is so strong in a straight line. But look at the braking from the Ferrari, which is what effectively puts... What just happened here? There was a 1 second of gap between the two. Oh, there's a pit maneuver there into the wall, and that's Messa getting literally taken out from the racing line. As obviously Zender gives back the position. But there was 1 second of gap, something happened there. So we can have a better view of what just happened. So this was the earlier incident. I wanted to put this one out. This one. So, it was stuck, I think. So this was the effective takedown. God, not a great look there. As Messoa, possibly with suspension damage, he doesn't want to continue anymore, I think. So did he stop because it was enough, or it was because of... Yeah, I think it was just enough. Probably the damage was... Engine out. Oh, engine broken. Wait, I want to hear it again then. From the onboard. Let's have a look. Here. It just cuts out. Yeah, that's it. That's Messoa out. That's Messoa out of the race. Completely. Oh, there's another takedown there. That's the one between Sonnenberg and Sanel Tadic. So a lot of odd incidents that are happening in this race. All of them in a very aggressive manner. So it was... Why am I here? I want the 113, please. Okay, apparently I cannot. Not even the race control is helping, to be fair. Yeah, Bora is clearly giving back the position to the Ferrari driver, but look what just happened. So it was a little contact there between the Porsche and Tadic. Then Tadic and Burr making a huge collision. You look at this, effectively pushing out of the way the Ferrari. Well, now Tadic is back in front since Burr gave back the position. Massa still there. With apparently a broken engine. Now Rode went out of the pits, so he's now in 5th place. It was a very odd thing. So apparently, a broken engine out of thin air, effectively. With Mercedes is still there. Stadic is now in 6th place. With Soren Burr following. Just behind. There's a contact between Burr and Tadic. Put Tadic out in the gravel. As Brandon is now into the pits. This overtake can still happen. I also want to see one thing. So this was still the 1 or 2 in front. I cannot see the overtake that happened though, unfortunately. I'm trying to search for it, but can't seem to find it. President Pagliai also into the pits with Bellic about to become the leader of the race. Although with damage to his car, so if any pit, obviously the pit will happen, but it's going to be interesting to see where this car will end up. Brennan still leading theoretically the race, so still there with the car really not going to complete the race with a broken engine. And this is the battle out of the pits, as Brennan already passed, so Pagliai effectively second, we rode just behind by 4 seconds only. And here the battle for 5th still goes on, with Tarish and Burr that still have the pit. So it's a temporary 5th place for these two here. And Mattia Max still has to pit, and Dustin Harper being effectively the first of the second group of cars that pitted for the third time, with Yannick Axman, who is just here in 9th place. Absolute downfall for the future racing car. As Beric now goes into the pits. The 112 Mustang back in action. It was a quick pit stop. I wonder if it was fuel only for Beric, but it was a full service. I think it was a full service, to be fair. So yeah, it was a full service for Beric. Comes back in 4th place after Messot incident. And Herpel is now in 5th, with Axman in 6th place. As the battle for 2nd place is now ongoing here, although Lefleur still has to pit, so this is not really the battle for 2nd. This is the moment in the race where most of it is already decided. Although Rode is still 4 seconds behind Fiorentini. If it wasn't for that incident early on, this could have been a battle for 2nd easily. But with 36 minutes to go, this did not happen. As Kevin Maniram and Mattia Max are also battling for 10th place as it stands. Max had just made the pit stop for the 103 G League. No, Alpha Racing. This is Alpha Racing Team, apologies. As close quarter racing gained 8 positions since the start of the race. So starting in 19th place, as Milan Kiss is back in the pits for the very same strategy as early on. So drive-through only for Milan Kiss. He will have worn tires, but this is the strategy that he chose to apply to his race, and so we'll see where Milan Kiss will end up at the very end of the race. So ATMX here for Alpha Racing Team still ahead of the Aston Martin that started in 18th. As we saw, return to garage. After staying stationary for several minutes because of a blown engine. So the red flag basically is when a driver returns to garage manually for any reason, and as I said, that was because of an engine broken into the second to last hairpin, because of a downshift, I suppose. And so he was in third. Unfortunately, this car is bound to be, at the very least, last place in GT3 running order, if it will ever come out. Kevin Maniram here, still trying to battle with Mattia Max for top 10. Situation at the front is not really changing. Brenham still leads by 7 seconds on Mirko Fiorentini and Lucas Rode by another 5. Then Bellic follows with 16 seconds of distance to the podium with Herpel, then Axman, then Talic, and so on. We'll go for a round up at the end of the lap. As the gap is actually getting larger here between Max and Myram, with Kiss going back into the pits. Ooh, this is not good for drive-through sim racing. This could actually be a drive-through for exceeding track limits. Ironically. So yeah, it is a drive-through for exceeding track limits. And 11th place at the moment for Milan Kiss. So, round up for our drivers. Olsen Brenum for West Competition Racing, number 101, starting in 4th, is now in 1st place. Then Mirko Fiorentini for MR Porto Corse is in 2nd. Lucas Rode in 3rd for CMRC Endurance by Barmenia. Kevin Bellic for Bellic GT Racing, who started in 21st, is now in 4th place. Dustin Harpel for New Engine is in 5th. Yannick Axman for Fisher Racing Esports, number 104, is in 6th place. Sanel Talic, after all of this Pinguentum, is in 7th place. Eric Beckman for Fisher Racing is in 8th place in a 114. Then Mattia Max currently sitting in 9th for Alpha Racing Team. Kevin Maniram just took out a GT4. And oh, this is going very, very bad for... I think it was... no, it wasn't Mirko Fiorentini, it was Vincenzo Damiano in the 119. Milan Kiss behind for Drive-Thru Sim Racing in the 107, then Claudio Dazza in the 109 Sky Sim Sports. Thank you, Messa, for the ride. Welcome, everybody. We're just going through the entire grid. Hello, hello. And then Gregor Force, 13th place in the 120 Fisher Racing Academy. Derek Lapin, G-League Esports, 14th place with 117 Team JB17 Motorsport. Langenberg is in 16th place in a 121. There was a car going off there. Khalid Racing Team. Then, oh wait, what is? Vincenzo Damiano for MR Report Course, and last place currently running theoretically in GT3 is Redouane Messois, who was battling for 3rd. Then got pit maneuver into the wall, unfortunately with a contact with Lucas Rode while battling for 3rd, and then the engine blew up after the hairpin, the second to last hairpin, the Melbourne hairpin, turn 11. In GT4, Luis Petzold for Dynamic MS Youngstars leads the race with Mikhail Krasov for 04, 4th club, And Ricky Lafleur for Khalid Racing Team is in 3rd place in class. Then Patrick Deng for Dynamic MS Youngstars in 4th. Cristiano Winkler in 5th place for Future Racing Academy. And then 401 Flamingo, pole sitter. And yeah, engine failure. I know. I already mentioned it early on. Versetamo that started racing first now sits in 6th place. Then Thomas Liskai for Samurais Racing Team, Tom Winch for Apex Predators Racing Team 408, and Aki Junior for Akibua Racing 409, 26th place. Then 10th in class is Chris Burning. For Lure Fuel Motorsport 410, and James Terry is for Delta Hunters in 11th. Outside Racing Team in 12th with Konstantin Ziner driving at the moment. SM97X 13th place for them. And Pedro Silva just behind for Slow Motion Racing. Jack Cruz for Cal Motorsport. Then Sebastian Helmuth for Jolly Ranger Racing. And then something is breaking apart because it was Pedro Silva is actually in 33rd now, so something changed clearly, and now a lot of traffic going on there. Oh, there is a car getting thrown off. That's a Ginetta of Loic 23 for SR97X. So as I was saying, 31st for Cal Motorsport, Jolly Roger in 42nd, Slow Motion Racing in 43rd, 44th, Filippo Megliola for Curva 1 Racing, Giuseppe Motta, sister team in 36th, and Jolly Roger Racing completes the whole field. So this is a whole roundup, as Mirko Piantini had to go through the pits for a drive-through for exceeding track limits just in the last lap. As you can see, 141 and then 142. He had to go through the pits as Mirko Piantini now sits in 4th outside the podium, promoting Lucas Rode to 2nd and Kevin Bellick to 3rd, but just narrowly since the car behind is very close. He probably asked for position in very little time. Last lap it was 7.2 for Fiorentini after the drive-through. For Bellic it was a 6.515. So Bellic has his stance, he's actually gaining time on the car that is following him. And the podium never stays the same. We had a change of podium protagonists for practically the entirety of the race. Now Kevin Bellic finally made it into the podium because of Fiorentini's drive-through for track limits. And as it stands, he sits a second and a half in front of Bellic, who started in 21st place. Last up around 6.5, basically hammer Kevin Bellic 6.2, so this car is actually very, very good and will probably go on to give us a battle in the last 24 minutes, so practically we still have 16 laps to go more or less for our race. No, 16, wait. 2 minutes and a half. So 2 laps in 3 minutes. 24 minutes are... Wait. As Kevin Maniram is here 8 laps. No, okay. Okay, no, it's right, it's right. 16 laps to go. And Kevin Maniram just lost a position on Mattia Max in the final corner. This was the overtake that just happened early on. So, oh, it was a near miss for the Aston Martin. And then the Honda just took the opportunity and made the position number 9. Let's go back live. And Kevin Bellick is actually gaining some more time. Last lap around it was a 6.9 for Bellick, 7.0 for Fiorentini. Standing possibly very angry with himself. Can't really blame anyone else for the track limit violation and the podium being lost. There is still a chance to make it into third place. Oh, it was very close between Kevin Bellick and McLaren driver, the 414, again sitting a bit in the middle of the way. That car is Giuseppe Motta in 35th place. And this is just helping Kevin Bellick for a run for third place. 51 minutes remain. We are just shy of 14 laps. Maybe we can get to 15 laps. There's not really much time left for these drivers here. Meanwhile, there is also the battle for 5th place in GT4. The pole sitter is battling with Winkler for 22nd place overall, which is 5th in class. From the outside he tries, but Marcel Tamo cannot make it in front of the FIFA Racing team, and so he will stay behind as it stands. Does he go back? Oh, Fiorentini is off! Crash for the Italian with a Maserati, and that may be the end of the chase for Fiorentini. So what happened here? Fiorentini, he was chasing Bellick and effectively collided with the Maserati and kind of took it out of the way altogether. But by doing so, he lost a tremendous amount of time. He just set a 31.6, losing 4 seconds. He now sits 5.7 behind. And this could realistically mean the chase is over for the podium. See a lot of action here for position, this time in GT4 class, which has been pretty much... Oh, something happened in GT3 class. I'm seeing a yellow flag between the 121 and the 119. and this is the reason for it. There was an incident between the Mustang and the Reparto Corse, finding themselves again involved in an incident of some kind. Oh, there was a dive onto the inside and an effective demolition against the 1-1 Mustang. That was Vincenzo Damiano throwing away the Mustang driver, as Maniram just made an incident. Oh, he's into the wall. 110 is into the wall. That's Kevin Maniram for close quarter racing. Or was it a contact with the Honda behind? Put the car off track. No, he just went on the AstroTurf and then into the wall. Narrowly missed by Mattia Mex for Apex Racing Team. As that's Lucas Rode passing through with... That's not Mico Fiorentini, that's Vincenzo Damiano just behind. And this is the battle for position between Winkler on the very inner line, also battling with a Porsche, and the KTM, Marcel Tamo in 23rd place. With a car that went somewhere else, not really sure where. That was Filippo Megliola getting thrown into the barriers. The 416 Porsche, I think. Do we stay with this battle here? I think it was Brandon effectively that threw the Porsche out of the way. Yeah, because it was an incident between the two cars. So it's clear that that was Brennan. And it's going to be interesting because this could actually be a penalty for the leading team. But they are leading by 10 seconds. As the KTM still tries the position, this time it's the outside line. Oh, they lost just the rear. So as we have a bit of calmness, you can see what happened early on. So you can see that was the Porsche getting in the middle of the battle, and the Lamborghini that passed through. We that went on to throw the car into the barriers. And so that could become a penalty after the race. That will be the win stripped off. If the penalty is more than 10 seconds. Because Lucas Rode sits 11 seconds behind at the moment. Very wide line for Christian Winkler. As Lucas Rode passes through. This could be a good opportunity for the KTM to make it into the inside line. Unfortunately, there's a GT3 in the middle, so he goes for the outside line. Oh, there's a more contact there. That's a Mustang going on the side of the Aston Martin, and unfortunately the KTM couldn't really do anything else apart from staying where it was. So another opportunity vanishes for Marcel Tamo to at least get back to the top 5. Starting in pole position in class. As another car gets some grass. That's Giuseppe Motta, the 414 car. We're just 13 minutes away from the end of the race. About 8 laps to go, maybe 9 to be certain. It has definitely been an eventful race. There could be a switchback that brings the KTM in front of Christian Winkler. Look at this. Oh, there's more contact between the two. Oh, there's a pit maneuver and bound, which threw the 401 into the grass. Yeah, that was a terrible move. Okay, that was really, really bad. And I think he should give back the position, but that will apparently never happen. So Christian Winkler, hoping the cameras were on to something else. He has been captured trying a pit maneuver on Marcel Tamo. We can also have a replay of the situation that happened on early on. So have a look at this. That's the fence inside. This is a contact between the two, but the 406 overshoots the braking. Cut back for the 2, more contact. Dasson tries again, and then goes on for a pit maneuver. Then over, which we then ruined the balance of Marcel Tamo. And couldn't do anything then, but Karma hits, and that's a position done. Marcel Tamo now is in front of Christian Winkler, whereas they are giving back the position, which is also fairly possible. And now Marcel Tamo is ahead of Christian Winkler. It will be for 5th place. Next objective is obviously impossible to reach. 14 seconds ahead, Patrick Dieng in 4th, 5 seconds behind Ricky Lafleur. Oh, that's a lot of sideways meters for Marcel Tamo, who is now back behind Christian Winkler. So everything has to be done again. 10 minutes to go. Oh, Damiano, yellow flags, huh? He's having a time here after colliding with about 10 different cars the race so far. This team hasn't really shined. So yeah, with 10 minutes to go, the race found sort of calmness, with the gaps being pretty stationary, except this one being the probably last battle on track that will then close the race. Unless any major implication happens, I don't see Mirko Fiorentini making it in front of Kevin Bellick anytime soon. I cannot see anything exceptional happening in the GT3 field. Oh, there is the Dasson gone, and that's Christian Winkler cutting the whole first corner after going over the grass on the outside. And there's a 406 that lost the position on Marcel Tamo, and by doing so also the battle is effectively over. So, and it was definitely a very nice race so far. And as you can see, everything can still happen even at the very last moments. It was a phenomenal race by this team here. West Competition Racing made a flawless race. Not a single mistake has been done by this team. If anything, the only thing that they mismanaged was maybe the first 30 minutes, a single mistake. Not even a mistake, more a little bit of precautionary measure that led them to lose some time. But apart from that, this was a flawless race for this team here and this driver, because it's Oystein Brunum alone that made this happen. Although it wasn't the quickest car, we can clearly see that Rode was in a single lap with the pole and the fastest lap. But you need the consistency in an 8 hours race, and with 7 minutes to go, there isn't much else to do. So Brandon, great race for the team in first place. Then Lucas Rode for CMC Endurance, and obviously his teammate Sebastian Zenner. They put the car in pole. They lost an eternity of time early on. They had some incidents, they had some troubles, they lost positions left and right at the middle part of the race. They were 9th at a certain point. No, they were 8th, apologies. They were 8th at a certain point. They kept on going steadily, and position after position, lap after lap, they managed to get themselves in second place. And unfortunately, they were the main protagonists of the incident with Messoa early on, with a bit of a pit maneuver that threw the car into the wall. Was it not on purpose? That one, since they gave back the position instantly. That was possibly the only effective mistake, apart from being in the wrong spot at the wrong time every single time. And then there was also another incident, to be fair, but that was the Frenchman going against the CMRC car. Then third place, Kevin Bellick. He started in 21st place and battled with nearly every single car. Apart from Oystein Brunum, he battled with everyone in the whole 3 hours. Never gave up. Possibly some damage on the car, but it's Donington Park, so you don't really require a perfect car to run steadily. And by doing so, never out of track and never out of bounds, maybe some contacts here and there, but it was obvious since this team and this driver was starting in the last place. Instead, they reached third place. Mirko Fiorentini then with his teammate Tommaso Pagliai, they made a perfect race up until the very end, where a track limit violation put this team in fourth place. A drive-through for them, 20 seconds being lost, and then the podium was also lost with a contact with one of the GT4 teams. Otherwise it would have been a perfect race for them, always in the good positions to attack and to defend. Just a very final error that put this team out of the podium. Dustin Harpel, 4 positions made from 9th to 5th, and a very nice race for this Mustang that was always in the battle with someone else, apart from these last minutes where this team finally had some, well, this team and this man finally had some calmness, and so a good deserved 5th place for Dustin Harpel, always battling with someone else, even for him, same as Kevin Bellick, but difference being that Bellick simply had way more pace than Harpel. In a GT4 class, Luis Petzold for Dynamic MS Youngstars. This is going to be a very important result because of the championship. Since they are en route to win the championship. Mikhail Krasov for club. They started the race in 24th, which was third place at the time in class. And they battled with pretty much everyone. The only person that was able to match them was the very car that is currently leading the race, Ricky Lafleur, for Cali Racing Team. But the 405 was way behind on the grid, starting in 28th. So they made good use of everything they had from the very beginning. Also with the battle with Patrick Dieng that now sits behind. These two teams have been battling for the whole duration of the race. Dynamic MS Youngstars in 4th place and then 5th place for the pole sitter that put the car in the lead for the very first point, and then unfortunately some mistakes here and there put the car back in 5th place in the class. It was a bit of a review for the top 5 in both classes, and Oysen Brunum is possibly waiting these final 2 laps to make it into the win for the ACC Drive Endurance round number 5. I was about to say 4, but I remember that this is the 5th round. So yeah, this will be maybe... Oh, it will be the last lap, so we will go for a lap with Oystein Burnham into turn 1. Which is red gate. Into second gear. You use every part of the outside line, then flat out through 2 and 3 kind of curves, and then hold the hairpin. Right-hander, where you use part of the curb and part of the outside grass even, because the track limit is very wide. Then staircase bridge, turn 5 and then turn 6, you brake here at the 50 meters mark into McLean's. Use the AstroTurf as much as possible, but not too much, otherwise you get thrown into the wall on the inside. Then into Copies, you have to brake by sheer memory, because you don't really have a braking point. Starkey straight, about 600 meters of straight line, a longer straight, and then the Hazes 9 and 10. If you go to the right, you go back to the national circuit, and here into the international circuit, and then turn 11, Melbourne hairpin, which saw numerous overtakes and passes today, but also in the history of this racetrack. And then Goddard's, turn 12, to then end the race into Whitcroft, straight, and this was the 3 hours of Donington Park, with Oystein Burnham for West Competition Racing winning the race by 12 seconds in front of Lucas Rode for Simmercy Endurance, with his teammate Sebastian Zenner. Then Kevin Bellick follows 3rd place for Bellick GT Racing. An incredible comeback for him, and it's 3rd place, 12 seconds behind the road. Then Mirko Fiorentini follows in 4th. And then the winner in GT4 category, Luis Petzold for Dynamic MS Youngstars. Solo driving the Maserati into the finish line, and that's 1st place for Dynamic MS Youngstars. Then Ford Club will follow afterwards. We'll just wait for the Maserati here to go across the line. And the 404 Maserati for Ford Club. And the 2nd place, 30 seconds behind Petzold for Ford Club, Mikhail Krasov and Nikolai Polyakov. Then Ricky Lafleur Another 14 seconds behind. Follows in third, completing the podium for Khalid Racing Team, and then Patrick Dieng for the second Dynamic MS Youngstars, with then Flamingo in the top 5. So this was... let me just go quickly grab a replay. So this was the race. This was the 3 hours of Donington Park. And I suppose close... okay, no. You please give me back ACC. Thank you a lot. Let me get rid of the tower for a moment. So this was the 3 hours of Donington. You can see Renum, Rode, Belik, Herpel, Axman completing your top 5. Then Beckman, Max, Maniram, Kiss, Zaza, Forst, Persechini, Lapin, Damiano in 14th. Then Petzold, the Krasov, Lafleur, Dieng, Tamo, Discal, Winch, and Raunio. They completed the race with then Terry, Zinner, Tenetri, Silva, Helmuth, Mota, and then Polster 29th, and the final car that reached the finish line. Okay, let me just take OBS. I wonder if the standings are already updated. Don't think so, I'll be honest, but it may be so. Not yet. Understandable. So obviously we are waiting for the standings to appear. It was a phenomenal race, especially in the first 30 minutes of it all. It was a great race, full of action and full of overtakes and events in the whole duration of the race. Unfortunately, the standings are not updating. Would like please do it? Okay, they just did. So these... sorry, did you see? 3 didn't. Or the GT4 did. So we'll go with the GT4 first. So this was the... it wasn't Silverstone, but... okay... no, wait. Donington Park, now it works. Dynamic MS Youngstars and Sport Club with Khalid Racing Team and Dynamic MS Youngstars, the only teams that managed to get to the finish line on the lead lap. Then Flamingo, Fisher Racing Academy, Simurais Racing Team, Apex Predator, and everyone else. Just give me a second to get back to the standings to read them all. Okay. So Apex Predator Racing Team, Akibua Racing, Delta Hunters, Low Fuel Motorsport, Aussie Racing Group, SL97X, Earl Motorsport, and Slow Motion Racing completing your top 15. And then in 16th place we can find Jolly Roger Racing, the 2 Curva Uno Racing, 6 teams, Jolly Roger Racing, and then Saka Trip in the Ginetta in 20th place. Then we've got the GT3 results. I said the GT3 results. Okay, I cannot see the GT3 results. Thank you very much. I don't know why. Yeah, this is getting a bit awkward, so I will just go with the standings, which should be updated as Dynamic MS Youngstars finds itself in first place with Fisher Racing Academy just behind, and Flamingo in third with DK Racing and Firefly Racing completing your top 5. Then in GT3 overall, I'm not sure this is working though, because if standings aren't updated, I really don't think full standings are not working either. So let me just be sure about it. No, bring back this one. So it should be West Competition Racing leading. So if I refresh, no. So for some reason the GT4s are updated, but the GT3 aren't. I really don't know why. It's very odd. Unless... just try something else. Wait, I may know why. In the meantime, let's see if these ones work. Okay, for some reason the GT3 aren't. The GT4s are. I really don't know the reason for it, even considering the link is the same. So it should work properly in both. Just be sure about it for a second. So if the GT4s are working, why are the GT3 not working? This is correct. So this should be correct. I can just refresh. Okay, it works. Fantastic stuff. So West Competition Racing won the race in front of CMRC Endurance by Barmenia and Belic GT Racing. Then I'm Reparto Coaching, New Engine, Fisher Racing Esports, Penguin Toon Forces, Fisher Racing Esports, Alpha Racing Team, and Close Quarter Racing completing your top 10. Those are important points for the teams. And obviously need them as if it was air to breathe. And then okay, for just to get sure, I deleted the links and yeah, now it works. West Competition Racing is now leading in front of Fisher Racing Esports, a New Engine, and then I'm heading fourth, who didn't compete into the afternoon, and then LFM Esports with Close Quarter Racing in 6th place, with about 500 points of gap to the nearest competitor, that was West Competition Racing in first. The New Engine 1,000 points behind the West Competition Racing leading the championship. Then we go into GT4 class. You can see Dynamic MS Youngstars in front of Ford Club, Firefly E-Racing and Fisher Racing Academy with QRT Esports completing the top 5. Although some teams here didn't compete this afternoon, Firefly E-Racing for example, like QRT Esports didn't. So this was the fall endurance race and also a bit of a championship recap. The next rounds are going to be in the Pro Series this Thursday, and it's going to be the double-header GT3 with the race number 2 with the top 15 being reversed in Monza. Double-header that has 2 races, 20 minutes and 40 minutes with 40% of points and 60% of points. So be sure to check it out, and I'm going to be here in the next endurance race with 4.5 hours of... no! Something blew up. of Spa-Francorchamps. In the meantime, stay safe, have a good evening, good night, wherever you are in the world. I am Chris Romano, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!